You are listening live to the program. Your teams, your town, your program.
Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it!
Loose ball, Brunson has it, gets past his man, drives into the front court, middle of the lane, layup is good with the right hand. Timeout Cleveland. The Knicks lead by 17 with 3:18 to go. 3, 2, 1, it's over. Final score, Knicks 109, Cavs 93. New York leads it 2-0. 2 wins to go for a trip to the NBA Finals for the first time in 27 years.
Canadians keep it alive. Score! Texier! 3-1 Montreal. Now breaking it on Anderson. The deep and the score. Davidoff! 4-1. Here's Slavkovsky moves in. He scores! Canadians take game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final by the score of 6-2.
And now, very thankful for the NBA and the NHL, Sir and Petro.
Right you are, Kay. Right you are. Petro on the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome to the Friday edition of the program. Jam-packed. We're going to talk to Matt Beasler. We're going to talk to Matt a lot here as the World Cup is coming. It's coming to your town, people. We'll get his thoughts on where the U.S.'s head is right now. Get his thoughts on where sporting is right now as well. Maybe showing some signs of life. We'll talk to Matt Beasler, former World Cup player. Captain of Sporting Kansas City. Was he captain of the World Cup team?
Something
I'm
like
getting
that.
a no.
No?
Thunderdome tells me no. And he's a big soccer guy. So I'm going to take his word for it. But Matt Beasler, one of the best to ever play in a Sporting Kansas City uniform, will be with us, and we'll talk some soccer with Matt. Coming up here a little bit later on this hour, Danny Unleashed in the 3 o'clock hour. One of the best... I can't find anything. I don't know. But one of the best.
What?
Nobody takes a travel day like Dan Klingscale.
Okay. Thought you could say of all of our guests, he's definitely one of them. One of those type of things.
We love Danny. Danny's great.
Of course we do.
Little Danny Unleashed, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. He should be salty and fun, talking some Royals baseball.
Oh, yeah. I would think.
Maybe ask him about Rory McIlroy. Getting salty because the fans chanted USA back at the PGA Championship. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if there'll be time.
Probably work it in.
Did we have... When did Rashi Rice drop? Has he had a chance to talk about that? That was earlier this week.
Yeah.
So,
was,
ooh. Danny's
boy.
first crack at...
Oh, boy.
At Rashi Rice. That'll be worth something. Has he done the schedule? The schedule, I think, had dropped.
Yeah, we did.
I think we had seen the schedule.
We did the sked.
Just trying to think what all has occurred since last we spoke to Dan Klingscale. Danny.
More than enough.
To the people who know him.
Daniel Robert, his family.
2-minute drill at 4. Exciting locales. Of course, I started an update on 2 of my devices, so not smart. I know one of them is Dallas.
We're going Denver. Balmer. Nolans.
Baltimore. Balmer was Baltimore?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the Balmer. Is that
Okay.
Balmer. Balmer. Nolans. Dallas.
Okay. New Orleans could go. Sometimes I have to tape New Orleans when we go to New Orleans.
That's what the
man said.
Kylo Ren said. It's boom. There it is. Gus
Okay.
Cattenhill, Pelicans Radio. We'll see.
Okay. All right. Good to know. And then in the 5 o'clock hour, we'll talk some Royals pitching of the minor league variety. They've got a lot of good things going on down in the minor leagues when it comes to their pitching. Paul Gibson, who is the
always good
senior director of pitching performance for the Kansas City Royals, will be with us. So we'll talk about the Kendry Churio and the David Shields and the Michael Lombardi and the Justin Lampkin. Those are really the guys kind of fast-tracking at the top of the prospect list for a lot of people with this Royals organization. We'll talk a little bit about converting guys to relievers I'd like to get into. Like my Final Four.
Can't wait to hear it.
Best, I'll give you, unless he covers this before I get to it, which point I'll scramble and go another direction.
Yeah.
best pitch in the minors, best fastball, best changeup, best slider, best curve.
Nice.
What pitcher has it?
Oh, dude, can't wait for that.
So is it all going to be? Oh, it's all Kendry Churio.
Yeah.
Are they going to be different guys?
Ideally, you'd want it to be 4 different guys, would you say, or maybe two?
I don't know.
That's hard to say. Four guys.
I mean, if one guy,
but if they only have,
I don't think anybody can have the best. I think you'd be a liar if you said one guy had top 4 in all of them. Because I think what gives you the ability to have the best fastball cannot be the same thing to give you the best changeup. In other words, however your biomechanics work, I would think that you're going to be better physiologically towards 1 or 2 pitches versus the others.
Yeah.
Like nobody comes out generally and has 4 pitches that are the. Yeah, I mean, can you think of anybody in the big leagues that are like, man, Randy Johnson, he's got the best of everything? No.
And most people had just, even the greatest, that they're kind of known for one particular pitch. Steve Carlton, it was the slider. Bert Blyleven, we talked about earlier this year, was the curveball. I think ideally you'd want 4 different guys, but each one of them be in the top 5 of one of the others. Maybe like you don't have him just one thing, but you're okay with the guy only having the best is if he also has at least one of the other 3 pitches that is really good.
But the minor leagues pitching does look good.
Yep.
Particularly with Justin Lampkin getting bumped to Double-A and having a good first start at Double-A. Because once you hit Double-A, you're not far.
No.
And Triple-A can be a way station of sorts. So, that was big when he got promoted, and then even bigger when he succeeded right away at the higher level. So, yeah, very much looking forward to talking to Paul Gibson. Always enjoy the conversation, thoughtful guy, and we'll talk to him about where these guys in the minor leagues are with your Kansas City Royals and where they will go.
And whether they can help this year.
No.
Seem unlikely.
Yeah.
They better not be up this year.
The Royals, have we put a 100-loss season back on the table?
No. I don't. I think it's somewhere in the room.
But it's not on the table.
It's not on the table. It's in somebody's briefcase.
You got a small table, Kay.
Yeah. Drake is in for Kyle, who is off helping his sister move to Chicago. How about that? What a kid.
What a dude.
What a dude. Why, you think it's absolutely on the table?
I think it's on the table, yeah. They're pretty close to trending towards it right now. I mean, if they continue on this pace the rest of the year, it's 97 losses?
Yeah, 65 and 97.
Yeah, so, I mean, how is that not on the table?
Yeah.
I hear your. Well, I think it's if Curtis had said it's absolutely not on the table, I would have the reaction you had.
Gotcha.
But he qualified it. He said, "Well, it's not on the table, but it's in the room," which we could have a battle semantics and say, "Well, that's the same as being on the table, it's just over on the edge. It's not in the middle." I took the spirit of Curtis's comment the way it was. I'm not a grumpy, sour, bitter to the world, angry little man like you, Drake.
I'm definitely getting there. I'm in the room.
You're in the room, but not on the table.
I chose to take the spirit of what Curtis said and run with it.
The other metaphor I would have would be,
you will declare it's on the table, Curtis, or we will fight. I will fight you in the hallway at the first break if you don't declare that a 100-loss season is on the table. Screw your room. It's on the table.
The other metaphor I would have would be it's not on the table, but they won't have to look very, very long to find it.
Yeah. It's in the drawer with the silverware.
They know where it's
at.
They check to make sure that they know where it's at if they need it.
It's not in the drawer in your, grandfather's toolbox 7 states away. It's in that drawer with the silverware, the one you open every day.
Did we pack that?
Yeah. So to your point, I'm fine with either way you put it. I don't think it's going to happen, right? So it's definitely not the centerpiece of the table,
No.
But however you want to describe it, I still think it's out there. But I thought some interesting things, and one of the reasons is the stat you put together.
And that, by the way, I want to give credit where credit's due. I dove deep on something that Jason was talking about on his show earlier about the kind of stretches that some of the Royals' 100-loss teams have had.
Okay.
I went, let me go all the way into it head first and go all the way back to the beginning of the divisional play and see what I could find.
And we found?
Since 1969, there have been 80 teams have had 100 losses in a season.
And what's amazing, 41 of them Royals.
Yes.
No, it's not.
7
it's not
I think
true.
were Royals.
Yes.
Only 4.
Which, by the way, let me point out, is still far too many.
Yeah. Considering they didn't have any before 2000.
2.67 per is what you should
I think
have
it was 7.
if everybody were to divvy it up evenly.
Something like that. I may be confusing that with the number of winning seasons they've had since 2000. Since
They've had
99
too
or something
many.
like
We
that.
can
Yeah.
agree.
Oh, yeah. Of those 80, only 4 had an 11-game stretch where they were 9-2 or better, which the Royals were. But 56% of those teams had an 11-game stretch where they went 8-3 or better. So if you just move just one game, and that can be, the idea that there's something specific between a team that can go 8-3 but not 9-2, that's just happenstance. 45% of those 100-loss teams have had at least one 11-game stretch in which they went 8-3 or better. So the idea
that streak means they're
Yes.
too good to end up on this 100-loss list is erroneous.
Yeah. And what it means even more, even if you don't subscribe to the 100-loss teams, it means that 9-2 is not necessarily, well, they're too good to go to be bad. Well, they're definitely not too good to be bad. Or they're not too good to be really bad this year. Because there is some precedent. And I think, where's the sheet I had? Of those teams, I think there were at least, 21, 2, 3, 4. I think there were 6 of those 80 teams were Royals that had that kind of a streak. 23 and 02, they each had a 10-1 stretch, 11-game stretch of 10-1.
Are you kidding me?
3 years ago, that team had a 10-1 stretch on the route to 106 losses. The 02 team had a 10-1 stretch. The 19 team was 8-3. The 18 team was 8-3. The 06 team was 8-3. And the maybe that's it. Yeah, that's it. So what's that? 5 or 6 different 100-loss seasons. They've all had a stretch where they won at least 8-3 once.
I like the question you posed. Like, are we going to feel different about this team come Monday? Right? We've got this 3-game series with the Mariners. Even if they swept the Mariners, wouldn't we just be like, well, that doesn't count?
Yeah.
Because clearly the Mariners have a mental block on the Royals.
And we've gone into every weekend.
We would feel better, yes. But you get my point. It'd be like, this is just a fluke.
Yes, because it seems like every Friday we've sat here since the beginning of the season. We've thought, well, if you asked us, what would you think about the team if they had a sweep win? Pretty good. A lot better. They'd be back at it. This is the first time all year that we've gone into a weekend series thinking if they sweep, it's not going to really fundamentally change the trajectory of or the what we think the expectation should be of this team.
Well, and that's the problem, right? And that's how it compounds, and that's why I always say whatever a team is, they can play up about 10 games or they can play down 20, 25 games.
Yeah.
Because now when you take the field, you're trying to erase 10 under in one night, and you can't do it.
No.
And it starts to weigh on you. Listen, if you start playing your best baseball, you are a minimum of – I have to look at the schedule. See if they got any off days. What we got for off days? Got an off day on the 28th, so next Thursday they are off. So you are a minimum of 11 days away from being 500, which isn't where you want to be either. And so that starts to weigh on you that we have dug such a hole. It's going to take so long to get out of this that it really and 2 years ago when they were in a hole and then took off. They did it by going 16-2, and I think, what did we say, 6 of those games were against the White Sox?
I think so.
Like they had a home and home, like that really strengthened it. So
that was just a year ago, wasn't it?
Was that?
Yeah, they went from
it was
8
last
something.
year.
They had 16-2, put them at 24-16. That was their peak for the season,
And
winning percentage wise.
With Seattle, the Yankees, Rangers, Reds, Twins. I mean, that's not just gimmies there.
No.
So, listen.
And
there's a reason we booked Paul Gibson today, and not Brian Sweeney.
Yes.
Not that Brian Sweeney's doing a lot of things wrong, but we just let's have some. My thought process was let's have some good news.
Yeah.
Because there are. I do want to be clear. Well, this season is frustrating. There's still many good things going on with this organization. This year, I feel like is shot. But I feel like ownership cares. Ownership is in Kansas City, not down the road in Arkansas. They're in Kansas City. They're feeling it.
Yep.
They're frustrated. They're hurting, and that will have them focused on getting things done. I do believe a lot of the right processes are in place. And so I listen. When I hear the, I know we even sensationalized Vicky's call. Matt Cotrero is not an idiot. Will we get to the end of the year and we'll come to the conclusion he's not the right guy to run this team? I don't think so, but it's in the room. Okay, it's now entered the room for me. Mm-hmm. For some people, it's on the plate and you're ready to dine on it. I think that's foolish, but I would acknowledge that it's in the room. There are some things that I'm tired. Like justifying the base running mistakes is not helping. They've been justifying them for a year and a half now, and it's not getting better. So I would really, really like to not hear that anymore. That would make me feel much better, because otherwise they're just empowering foolishness on the bases, and giving away outs is not smart. And so that's one of the main things that's like put it in the room for me. But, I think the general manager has a great process. I think their drafting is going well. I think Kendry Churio is a sign that they signed Kendry Churio for like $250K. Now, that's not nothing, right? I think everybody would be like, ooh, sign me up. I'll take $250,000 to then go play baseball. Got it. But big signings go for a lot more. And so this was one where they identified a kid, said, we're not going to lose him. They gave him good money, but not the $2 or $3 or $4 million that teams have given. And now he's gotten into their organization and he's rocketing up. They're handling him the right way. That's one of the most important things about the long-term success of this team. So, it's by design we decided to talk to Paul Gibson. There is a lot, in these times of frustration, and if they lose tonight, I'm going to be pissed. There'll be another Corona premiere. But I do think we all need to keep in mind there are still many, many positive things coming.
Yes.
And a lot of good that is being done. This year is just seemingly going down the toilet. And like I said, we've said it for the last couple of days. Examining and figuring out why is the most important thing for this team. That's what needs to happen.
Yep.
So
political parties, when they lose, they do autopsies on what happened, and they try to make sure it doesn't happen. That's what sports teams do it as well.
Yeah. Review the process. Where do we make a mistake? That's why we tried to do it a little bit yesterday. Like, okay, what did we I picked them for 88 wins. You were 87 or 86, and Kyle was the other.
Yeah. So
we all had him winning. Randy Gisarelli had him at 88. He's one of the founders of Baseball Prospectus. He's very mathematically inclined. He had him for the same record I did. I think David Lesky had him for 86. He gets the math of baseball.
Yeah.
Sorry, David, if I missed, but I know you were above 500 as well. So we all thought. So that is the value here. That's what's going to be valuable is for them to look at it and be like, what did we miss on?
And even if you take away, everyone we've named has some sort of affinity for the team, but what was the over-under in Vegas? It was
82.5.
82.5. So
yeah.
There's no affinity there. I was joking with our friend Steve Cofield this week. He mentioned something about the Chiefs, and I go, hater. And he goes, you can't. There are no such thing as haters in betting. It kills you. So the people who live and die by accuracy of their projections, they had the Royals being a winning team.
Yeah.
And it's just not. So what did they miss? Is they missed something too. It isn't just we were looking at it with our hearts.
The horrors of baseball is that it's every night when you're losing. The beauty of baseball is that it's every night when you're winning. Let's hope they start winning. We can feel a little bit better on this. And we said come Tuesday.
Yeah.
when the airwaves are back up because Monday's a holiday.
This will be the test of the new City Connect uniforms. They've been really good to this point. This will be the ultimate test.
They're really good in those uniforms, record-wise?
Yeah, at home on weekends, they've been fantastic.
Really?
But this will be the ultimate test of those uniforms.
Okay. Yeah, we'll find out. All right, we'll talk some more baseball a little bit later on. I know we'll talk a lot of baseball with Danny Klingscale coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. We'll take a break right now. We come back. We're going to talk soccer with Matt Beasler, former Sporting Kansas City great, turned coach, turned analyst, great friend of Sports Radio 810 WHB, the apple of Nate Bucatie's eye. Matt Beasler joins us next here in the program. All right, welcome back here in the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll go with that one. Petro, Seaboldt, no Collier. He's on vacation.
Little
Drake
different,
is in.
Little different music vibe from behind the glass, and so he's like, "Are we back?"
Yeah, this guy like Drake is musically inclined.
Absolutely, as much as anybody.
We welcome Matt Beasler to the program. Sporting Kansas City legend, icon. I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you were pulling in or if you were out in the lobby or where you were, but I said coming up next we'll talk to one of the greats to play for Sporting Kansas City and, of course, the apple of Nate Bucatie's eye. Matt Beasler will be with us.
I don't think I can ever shake that title.
Do you want to?
Kind of, sometimes.
Yeah. Is it getting a little creepy?
It was creepy at first, but I think we've settled into a good relationship.
A good rhythm with it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's going all right with the podcast? It doesn't...
Yeah, it's good. No, I mean, Nate does a great job. He's a natural.
He's not here. You don't have to. Yeah, I mean, you can be honest.
I am being honest.
He does do a great job. We're fans of Nate as well. By the way, I miss having Nate on all the sporting games. I miss having a local crew. Do you miss that?
I do too. Yeah, it's. I was excited when the Apple TV deal was announced. I said, okay, this makes some sense. This could go somewhere, and
right.
You know, I think it hasn't worked out the way that they wanted it to, and I wouldn't be surprised if they went back to local broadcasts for all the markets. And yeah, it's just the feel, especially for a market like Kansas City. I mean, that's part of it. You know, you know the people and they form relationships, and it does sound different when you don't have that.
I think, you know, it will serve a purpose, right? Like, I remember when the NHL left ESPN and they went on about an 8 or 10 year deal to NBC. And NBC was carrying the games on the weekends, and they had their NBC Sports Network, which didn't have the same kind of clearance that ESPN did. And then when that deal was up, they went back to ESPN. And ESPN, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, would oftentimes not show NHL highlights when they didn't have it. And now they do NHL highlights because they're promoting their product, which I think is ridiculous because I always felt like SportsCenter should be the news, right? You should do it the way it should be. But one of the things it did for the NHL, and I think what will happen with soccer, to your point, is Apple is doing some new cool things with it and with some of the ancillary programming. And so now, number one, they push the dollars up. And while you're probably not going to get as many eyeballs, you definitely won't get as many eyeballs on the game, although they do still have some over-the-air games and packages. But when you go back and you sell the package the next time, there's a new floor. The new floor is how much Apple paid. And so ESPN's got to talk in terms of being near that. So they raised the dollars, and then hopefully next time, as everybody has streaming services, and now that every sport is streaming, everyone is like, if you want to find the NBA playoffs, you got to find Peacock, right? You want to find the Thursday night game for the NFL, you got to find Prime Video. I mean, I think it sucks for us as consumers, but it's the new real world.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, it is a growing pain, but a necessary pain to push the dollars. And I think eventually it will be considered years down the road a positive, but there's some short-term pain for the long-term gain.
I like that. I like that perspective. I would agree with you. It's a lot to navigate as a consumer.
Yeah.
You know, it's overwhelming. So, but you're right. That's the world we live in. So
it used to be like, well, if they don't know if it's not on one of the Prime channels, we're not going to find it. Now everybody has some app that with the score also tells them what channel it's on or what streaming service. And so you can at least go through it. And then you just got to decide, are you going to buy them all?
Or borrow your buddy's password, and how many friends do you have that have it? You're scrambling, and I got to know somebody that has an
I'm not going to say I have a friend that does that. Maybe.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you this. There's a lot of people that view things on ESPN because of me. I'm just going to tell you that.
Yeah, you'll get the notifications like someone else is logged in, or you have too many people watching from your account. Oh, totally. I get those too.
I get a buzz about a login from ESPN, and then I get a phone call from maybe a 702 area code. Friend in Vegas, like, hey, change your code? What's going on here, man? Trying to get on and look something up here. Yeah, I think we all have those friends. I want to get your perspective on sporting, first of all. What are you thinking? I mean, you were part of so many great teams. The organization was so good. for so long. When you watch, they've it's bottomed out and now they're trying to build back up. But what goes through your mind when you're watching? And hopefully we've seen a couple of, been a little bit better of late, but there have also been some 5-0 in one half. I mean, there have been some rough ones. What goes through your mind as a guy who was there for the best days of the organization?
Yeah, I mean, that Portland game, it's funny because I watch a decent amount of games still, and I still attend a lot of the home games, and I wasn't watching the Portland game because it was a West Coast kickoff, and I was probably sleeping. But I do remember seeing my phone, and I saw some tweet or on Instagram something that said, Sporting KC's getting a lot of practice on their kickoffs tonight. I go, oh boy, what is this? Oh, that's what that means. Okay, 5-0 in the first half. They had 6 kickoffs in one half. That is not a good thing.
Yeah,
you don't want to be practicing kickoffs ever. You want 1 kickoff per game.
Right.
I just thought that it made me chuckle.
There's some clever folks out there on Twitter.
It's the flip side of NFL football. You don't want to have a lot of kick returns.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
Yeah. But ownership's going through a transition as well.
I mean, it's been frustrating. It's been I can get behind a rebuild, and I think everybody hopefully can understand that sometimes that has to happen. But you still want to see progress. And I think for a while there, it was tough. It was tough to watch. When you sit down and watch your team and the product on the field isn't what you're used to and isn't up to the standard that it should be, it's really hard. And I think that's where we were for too long of a time. You tune in and you want your team to feel like they at least have a chance to win. And when you tune in and you just can tell right away that there's no chance that we're winning this game, that's not a good feeling to have as a fan base, as an organization. And I felt like we had a lot of that for a while. Now, if we were to have this conversation 2-3 weeks ago, I'd be saying the same thing. Right. However, their last 2 results have been excellent. Yeah. They've won their last 2 games. And we'll see what happens this Saturday. But if you can win 3 games in a row, we always used to talk about that. In soccer, that's like the magic winning streak. If you can win 3 in a row and collect 9 points in 3 games, you jump up the standings.
Yeah.
And then how many of those 3-game win streaks can you put together within a season? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? I mean, that's when you start talking about winning the league and getting home field advantage and all that stuff. But
baby steps, Matt. Let's just get that first 3.
I'm happy to talk about baby steps. No, seriously, I'll give the team credit. These last 2 games, they look great.
Absolutely.
And again, I watched both of those games, and when you watch, you say, "Oh, okay, this team looks good. They're competing. They're on the front foot. They're pressuring the other team. They're causing mistakes. They're playing to win the game." And so when I look at some of the previous games earlier in the season, the Vancouver, the Portland, you go out on the field and it's like, all right, we know we're maybe inferior and we're trying to hold on, and it's like we're trying to not give up goals. We got to go out and try and win the games, and that's what I've seen the past 2 games. So give them credit. I don't know if they figured something out, if they've changed their approach, or if it just sort of happened. But I can tell you they look different in the last 2 games.
Well, it was terrifying to think that they went to training camp and were still trying to sign players.
Yeah,
I mean that's not where anyone wants to be. It'll be a footnote if they rebuild the organization and it's a playoff team at the top of the table year after year after year again, then it'll be like, okay, yeah, it was a process, and that wasn't good. It's not where anyone wanted to be. But they put the right people in place ultimately, and so now look at where we are today. That's how we'll view it. The fear you have when you start is like, is this an organization that's paralyzed? Like they can't figure out what the right decision is, where they were at. That was the fear. And again, if they get it right, it won't matter. It's like the Patrick Mahomes trade. I remember talking to people at Arrowhead before he started playing, and I said, a lot of people think you gave up too much, and he's a real risk, and the air raid offense and bad footwork. And the response looked me in the eye and said, if we get this right, no one will even remember what we gave up. And that's what it's been. And I think it'd be the same thing. If they have gotten it right with the right people in place, no one will even remember that this happened. It'll just be, that was the ground zero, and we began building from there. And I'm with you, and it is encouraging what we've seen the last couple of matches. So that's important to me. You were part of the Players Association, so you were in on the negotiations and the talks, and you knew the economic structure. How much has the economics, and I know you're not in on that now, but how worried are you that Kansas City can compete with the current economic structure? Like I'm all for the players making as much money as they can, but it's unique. I mean, you've got an uncapped portion of the roster, which allows those that really want to spend to really spend and go after a Lionel Messi or whoever. And then you've got this other part of the roster that's capped. So it's like different in the sense that it's like baseball in the sense that there's a Yankees that can go out and a Dodgers that can spend. But, there's maybe not near as much reward for the development within. You don't have 5 levels of minor leagues and, you can take whoever you want. You're all regionalized. They don't give you the ability to say, well, we're going to put all our resources into just developing from within. So how worried should we be about small market soccer?
So, yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. So the way that the roster mechanisms work, there's the designated player rule, which is the uncapped portion of the roster. And last I checked, it was 3. I think it might be 3+1. There's a young designated player rule now, but essentially, let's just say 3. You've got to get those players right. You can't miss on those players. The league now is too good, and the money is high enough where those 3 players have got to be your stars. And if you miss on some of those players, on any one of them, you put yourself in a big hole. Like those players, because you're paying them above the cap, they've got to be the difference makers. They got to go win you games. They have to put the team on their back. And so I don't know if we've gotten those necessarily right, and that's been part of the struggle. So that's one piece of it. But then if you go back down on the roster, so like the second tier of the roster, so those are the max roster guys. And I don't know what the max roster is before it triggers that designated player level, but just say $750,000. So the guys that you're paying that
and that's
amount,
a max, and there's a cap of what the total of everybody in that group can make too.
So then when you look at the non-designated player guys, so like your max roster guys, usually you have 5 or 6 max roster guys, and those are like the core of your team. Those are important players. I think the struggle and sometimes the challenge with a market like Kansas City is, okay, what's the player profile for those max roster guys versus the player profile on a Miami, LA, New York? The talent level at that tier of the cap is much different, because the case that these other big market teams are making to those players are, hey, why don't you come here? Yeah, I know you're probably worth $1 million, but you'll take a $250,000 pay cut because you want to come live in LA and you want the big city and all those things. So they'll be able to get those players. I think in Kansas City, it's the opposite. In Kansas City, you might have to say, hey, look, you're probably a $500,000 player, but in order for you to come here and live in Kansas City, we'll pay you $750,000. And so you make the deal a little sweeter in order for them to come. So it's almost like reverse of some of these other markets. And so the player that you're getting, the player that you're recruiting is just different.
The pitch of your money goes further here in KC doesn't work with 22, 23, 24-year-old guys?
I heard that pitch from Peter Vermes a lot when we were negotiating our contract. So that Peter's very familiar with that one.
Yeah. Does it work?
It worked on me.
You are unique. You and Seth, guys from here, that's a pretty unique situation. I mean,
Peter didn't have to do much convincing to tell me how great of a place it was to live in Kansas City and how my dollar went further than New York. I knew that.
Yeah. Any of your teammates that you remember that maybe came here going, I don't know, and then ended up being like, man, what a great spot. I'm so glad I made this decision.
Almost every single one of them.
Really?
It was one of my favorite parts about being in the locker room and being a local guy. It was almost like clockwork. Watching a guy come in from a foreign country, whether it was Europe or South America or Central America, watching them come in and be unsure about Kansas City and know nothing about our city, and slowly over time, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, and all of a sudden it happens every single time. They look around and say, I love this place. Man, I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do. Oh, the people here are great. I think I'm going to buy a house. I think I might live here afterwards. I mean, I'm telling you, the amount of times it happened, it was almost it was almost just like clockwork.
It's the ultimate setup, I think, because our cost of living is lower. And like I always say, I'm going to go to New York this summer, and I always say my two favorite times about New York, looking out the window and seeing all the cities as I'm coming into land. The second favorite time is looking out the window and seeing all the city as I'm leaving. Like, I love that it's there. I'll go take it in and do it, but I don't want to be there all the time. I can get just enough of New York at a weekend or a week or what have you, and then get on out and come back here. And I think that's, do you really want to be in Miami all the time? I've been in Miami, and after about 4 days of Miami, I've had enough of Miami.
But so one of the things that we used to emphasize in the locker room, at least, was to everybody, not just the Kansas City guys, but the foreign guys too. But put yourself out there. Like I promise you, this is an inviting city. They're not going to bite, but you got to give itself a chance. And so I sometimes I feel like some of the guys come in and they don't open up, or they just kind of keep to themselves. Kansas City is a place where if you show your personality and you open up and invite them in, it's very welcoming. And I think that was one of the things I loved seeing on the teams that I was on, is you got these guys come in and knowing nothing about Kansas City, but they were going to the Plaza Art Fair, and they were trying the American Royal Barbecue, and they were just experiencing the city and meeting people and putting themselves out there in the public eye. Now, 10 years ago was probably a different time.
Yeah.
You could do that, and, we maybe weren't as popular. Now I don't know what the vibe is in the locker room if guys, need to protect their privacy and all that. I can't imagine it's that much different, but
right. Yeah.
I've always felt like this city was a metropolitan city with a town feel, like a small town. As much as anybody, there aren't many other cities to me that I can imagine or have quite that. You can do anything, almost anything you want to do in a big city. It's metropolis enough to get everything you want, but you can just kind of escape to little places. You're not really bothered by people. It stuns me how many people in baseball and football in particular who've never been here until they play here and they stay here.
Yeah.
And it's been that way for 50 years. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is. Do you have a couple minutes? We take a break? Because I want to ask you I want to start some World Cup talk here, but do you need to get going?
No, I can stay.
Okay, good. We're going to take a break. One more segment with Matt Beasler here in the program. We'll talk about the U.S. national team next. You listen to the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Matt Beasler is in. Going to be talking a lot of soccer with Matt, Sporting Kansas City legend, soccer insider. How optimistic are you on a big showing from the U.S. in this World Cup?
Cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
Yeah. But definitely optimistic. I think this team has the highest ceiling we've ever had.
Really?
I do. But it also has probably one of the lowest floors.
Okay, so it's pretty combustible then.
I think,
Why? Why does it have such a swing?
So typically, if you look at a U.S. team, you kind of know what you're going to get. You know they're going to work hard. You know they're going to, compete. They're probably going to achieve, at their level, but probably not anything higher. And that always got us to, probably advance out of the group and then lose the first round. That was a comfortable place to be, but I think people want more. This team has the potential to give you more. Their ceiling is semifinals, final. I mean, they could go on a run and really do some damage and compete. They could also crash out and, not get out of their group, which would be
Is it because of the style they play? Is it high risk, high reward? Or are they?
No, it's not style. I would say that they have yet to settle on lineup, the consistency. Maybe a little bit style of play, and I do think there's something to be said about experience. They don't have a ton of experienced players.
No, they made a choice to go younger after the last one.
Yeah, and the thing that happened with that is, and Tim Howard was the guy who I think brought this point up, and he it's a great point. So when we lost and did not qualify for the World Cup in 2018, they basically cleaned house with all the veterans, which I probably agree with. I think that was the right thing to do. That's what I would have done if I was in that position.
Mm-hmm.
You clean house and you say, hey, we're hosting a World Cup on our home soil in 8 years, and we've got 8 years to prepare. So let's take the biggest group of young players that we have and just throw them into the fire and give them 8 years to play together and get all these experiences and become a team. And that was the approach they took, which on paper I agree with. The problem with that is they did not have anybody above them to pass down the lessons and the experiences and the intangibles that happen within a locker room. And I underestimated the importance of that. When you're in a national team environment, the first thing you do when you go to camp is you get there and you start looking around at all the veterans. Because every single cycle, there's always people that you used to watch on TV.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's Clint Dempsey. There's Landon Donovan. There's Tim Howard. I'm just going to watch. I'm going to observe. I'm going to learn from them. And they didn't have anybody to do that. They were learning on their own, and I think that they didn't have that guidance. And so they're missing something. They're missing, and I don't know what it is. But that's why I would say.
Could they find it?
Absolutely, because they have the talent. So if it comes together and everything clicks perfectly, then they could go run the table and compete for this World Cup. But it has to click.
How often does it click in one tournament like this?
Good question.
Because, soccer is such a – every sport's unique in its own culture. And by culture, I don't just mean the personalities and people. I mean just the dynamics of how the sport is played. We know soccer's that weird game that you can dominate, and now they have the thing where it's like expected goals.
Yeah.
And it could be like 4.1 to 0.3. And the 0.3 got their one in, and the 4.1 posted it 3 times, and they lose 1-0. And so no sport has that. Hockey, to a degree, is the next closest that you can have that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
But, you need a little fortune along the way, but you also need the chemistry to come together as well.
Yeah. I think, the chemistry part is a big piece, and that I have yet to see, and I'm not as confident in the chemistry part. The other two things and points that I'll bring up is one, depth. So this World Cup, if somebody were to ask me who I think is going to win, I would pick one of the favorites. And the reason is because of their depth. This is going to be the biggest World Cup in history. It has the most teams. And so essentially you're going to add 2 games. And so to win the World Cup, you're going to have to play more than you've ever played before. And the schedule is condensed.
And the travel is bigger than it's ever been.
Because it's in the United States and it's a big country. And so
and Canada and Mexico.
And so when I look at, the betting favorites, who has the most depth? You're going to have to rotate. There's going to be some injuries. There's going to be, you're going to rely on your entire roster. The U.S. has a good roster, but it's not the most deep compared to an Argentina, a Brazil, an England, a Spain, a Germany. So that's one side of it. The other side, and this is just me speaking as a former defender, I'm a little nervous that they don't have enough reps together. When you play in the back, your back four and your goalkeeper, in order to feel comfortable, you need games. Like, not just 2 games, like 20. Going into World Cups, like your center back partner, to feel good next to your center back partner, you need 20 games. Those are the best.
Where are they
teams.
at now?
They're probably at under 10.
Okay.
Because of the shuffling and the lack of chemistry, and there's been some injuries, and the roster game to game just changes a lot.
For someone who's not as well versed in the strategy of sport, is it because the offense is more you've got a game plan and everyone there's a strategy, whereas in defensively it's more reaction and therefore time together is more important?
So I think defensively in soccer, you have to work together as a unit. You have to move together. You have to cover for each other. The spacing. Whereas
when do I go help out there because this guy's pushing up? When do I attack a duel in the air, and does the guy have my backside?
Yeah, and that takes repetition. Whereas the attacking side of the game is a little more free flowing. It's unscripted. You can kind of make something happen, and
And the worst it happens if you aren't on the same page is you just don't score.
Correct.
You don't give up points.
Correct.
Or goals.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right, so we've got a big variance. Could be a great year. Could be hugely disappointing.
Hey, I think that's what makes it exciting.
I
It's exciting
like that.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, it can. Matt, we really appreciate the time, buddy. It's great talking to you. Look forward to talking to you all through this tournament, talking to you. We get sporting going again. Appreciate you coming in, and hopefully we got a good team to be talking about.
Agreed. Looking forward to it, guys. Have a great weekend.
All right, Matt Beasler, one of the best to ever wear the Sporting Kansas City uniform, joining us here. We'll be talking a lot to him during the World Cup and with the Sporting Kansas City season. We will take a break. We come back. Danny Clinkscale is going to join us. A little Danny Unleashed. We'll talk some Royals baseball. We'll talk some soccer as well. Danny, quite the soccer aficionado himself. We'll do that next.
All right, how many play-by-play voices have called at least 100 games in the NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Final, or World Series? Brought to you by Twin Peaks.
once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
Hour number 2 of the program begins right now. Little Danny Unleashed with Danny Clinkscale here on a Friday. Danny, how are you?
Doing good. Matt as my wife would say when we watch...
Matt Beasler.
Yeah, Matt
is how you say
Beasler.
it.
When we watch a movie or something and there's a guy on the screen who's, really dashing or handsome or whatever, I'll turn to her and go, that dude's really struggling. And she goes, and she'll go, oh, yeah. Matt Beasler is really struggling. He looks terrible. I don't know what's happened to him since he stopped playing.
All right, settle down, Nate. Settle down. We got one person.
Not only is he smart, but he's
a great guy.
He's looking good.
He's always been fun to talk to, and when he was a player, I mean, he's a great leader for them on and off the field. And
did a Kansas City profile with him. It was fun.
Oh, he's the best. And we didn't get into this. I'll maybe get into it later and have him tell it again. But he told it on the podcast with Nate. But told the story of when they were at Stanford. They were training at Stanford for the World Cup. The World Cup team was, and that they were in the pool. I don't know. I think they just had downtime, and they were the diving pool there, which Stanford puts out Olympians and swimming and diving, and the platform diving, the high dive platform. A couple of guys went off that were just like thought it was fun and is great, and then a couple more guys did. And he said it became a thing where like, okay, everybody's going to do this. And he talked about how terrified he was to jump. I'll make him tell it again one of these days. But he finally went. And he said it got down to where there were just 2 guys that hadn't gone, and they waited and waited and waited, and it was finally like, listen, everybody's got to do it. And then they finally did it, and he said that was like a great bonding, team building moment. But when he told that story, that podcast that he does with Nate is great. And I sat in my car listening to the finish of that story. To my peril, I will add
personal peril.
Yeah, to hear the
price was
to hear
paid.
the end of that because it was great. It was a great story.
I'm imagining him thinking, all right, there's 2. All right, there's 4. There came a point where it's like, all right, this needs to stop.
Yeah.
Come on, don't go. Oh,
reminds me about when I went parasailing in Mexico. I was laying on the beach, and it looked like great fun, but I was afraid, up there. I'm thinking to myself, what if like a big bird flies through the kite? You're toast. I mean, so I'm thinking of all these things. Finally, so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, boy, I want to.
Fortunately, there aren't a lot of kamikaze birds.
I want to. You're right. Thankfully, but I want to do it. Finally, after about 3 hours, 2 10-year-old boys consecutively went up. And I said, okay, I can do it. This is only a few years ago. So.
And when you got up there,
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I'll tell anybody.
I think it looks great, but I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to be. First of all, it's usually, I don't know how well regulated the rope and the boat and I'm always in a foreign country.
I think there's something that it's. I think it's. Can be reasonably dodgy. I don't think they've got the same kind of restrictions. But these are businessmen too. I mean, they want to make a living. Somebody goes down, they're done. So it's the most unbelievable feeling. It's so quiet. You feel just like a bird. I mean, you absolutely. Well, I don't know what a bird feels like, but I mean, it must be what. So you're about. I don't know. I would say 120 feet maybe in the air, something like that. I know you're above. I know I was above a 12-story building, so it's that tall.
Yeah.
And it's just fantastic. In this one, all you did was take 3 or 4 running steps. Sometimes you go in the water. This one, you just took 3 or 4 running steps on the beach and jumped in the air, and then whoop.
So are you sitting on anything, or are you just hanging in a harness?
You're in a harness.
By yourself or with another person?
No, by yourself. Yeah.
Wow.
And I've done it subsequently, and I just love it. Now, it seems like they're getting a little cheaper. I think I would estimate my first ride was probably 25 minutes, and I think the last time I went, it felt more like 11. but do it. Don't be afraid. Just do it. I mean, it's quiet, and you just feel so free. And
well, just being in my only trip in a hot air balloon. Yeah. The quietness is the thing you're not prepared for.
I'm not sure I'm down for that either.
It was really cool.
I can highly recommend it. Yeah, I did.
On Olathe, we ended up landing in the field to the west of the old mall.
By the way,
Great
just
Plains.
that part of it, we end up like the uncertainty.
No, it was a set. It was a spot. There's like
a set spot.
We're going down. There, people were waiting for us, and it was amazing. But the thing you're not prepared for is how freaking quiet it is. But it's really cool.
Yeah, I've done both, and I would say it's probably 8 times better than a hot air balloon.
Oh, I would imagine.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's so cool. But you do have to. You're up there, and you're like, that's a long friggin' way down.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you have to convince yourself that if something bad happened, you would survive the fall, which is total BS. If something happened, you're dead. Okay.
You're doing quite the sales job here.
Yes.
But it never. I mean, you hear very seldom of anybody. I don't think I've ever seen a story where somebody perished.
Oh, I have.
Oh, well, thanks.
I've seen him hit a building.
Oh, well, good.
So.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if I will be.
We've all seen the hot air
Yes.
balloons go to hell in a handbasket.
I've done it 3 times, so that's probably about it. It's probably enough. But
Okay.
I don't know. I might be tempted the next time. It's such a glorious feeling.
You and I have both ridden a ski lift in absolute darkness. That felt like you were flying.
Where in the hell was that?
Coming back from the wedding in Carolina. Everything was done. We took the ski lift back down to the bottom of the mountain, and there were no lights. We were just sitting there.
I think you're thinking of Colorado.
Oh, Colorado. That's right.
I was
Colorado.
not with you.
That's right.
I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I was having serious, oh, my God. Dementia is setting in. I have no idea
what he's talking
what this man is talking about, and I was apparently there.
I went to 2 weddings on the road last year. That's what it was. We went up the mountain and then came back down, but after the sun went down, there was no light. So you're in a ski lift going down this mountain, and you can't see anything. But the lights at the bottom of the hill, that kind of felt like flying. It was really cool.
Sure did.
Yep.
Sounds like another thing I'm not that sure about. I'm sure about Easton Roofing, residential roofing repair and replacement. They offer full replacements. Some companies don't do repairs. They offer repairs. Some companies just push that full replacement because it's more dollars for their pocketbook. Not the case. Lots of hail going through Kansas City this year. Free storm damage inspections. You can get it with Easton Roofing. Filing that claim is important. Easton Roofing is an expert in the insurance process. They can guide you through the entire thing. Known for honest communications, clear expectations. They can help you out right now. Built on integrity, communication, and quality workmanship. Call or visit the website to schedule a free inspection. You can call right now and talk to a real person. 24/7, 365. Just call 913-257-5426. Find them online at eastonroofing.com. Danny, how about these Royals?
Suboptimal.
Yeah. Is the year done? Are you where I got to with the completion of the sweep at the hands of the Red Sox said, this is not going to be a playoff year? Are you convinced of that the way I am?
I'm close. I will be covering the game on Sunday. If they don't take 2 out of 3 against the Mariners, I might be about there because the Yankees are coming to follow. But 20-30, the state of the league, I could see 84 wins being a playoff. I heard David Lesky, and he talked about what it would take to get to 86. I think 84 might get you in the playoffs. That's still,
64 and 48.
64 and 48, which I don't think the team is capable of, but it's a slightly under 600 ball, so I wouldn't say it's
like
impossible. So I'm not completely on the out, but 50 games have given us no evidence this team can play 16 games over 500 baseball the rest of the year, and that's to squeak in, perhaps. It could be more.
What do we miss?
I think we missed complete good fortune. We probably were too. When we assessed the team, we assessed the whole team. It's like when Matt was talking about the U.S. national team, soccer. First 11, you might have some real hopes that they can go toe-to-toe,
Okay.
I don't even think that's true, but anyway, their best, playing their best. But every team in baseball is going to get some injuries, and the Royals were probably more vulnerable than we realized because they just don't have that much depth. They don't have a good farm system right now. It's not like their AAA team is loaded with quality that you guys are being kept down because they can't crack the lineup, but they're really good, So, and we also didn't see anything pop up like that was like a real bonus, a real step forward. The Guardians, for instance, who nobody ever respects,
I was ready for him to take the step back.
Well, they've had two rookies step in, and they're both hitting the ground running, DeLauder and Bazzana. And, which was expected. He was the number one pick in the draft. But DeLauder, I don't think and both of them are playing great. So that really boosts the lineup that everybody thought was a real pea shooter. Well, nothing like that's happened for the Royals. But I don't think we saw just cratering from Vinny Pasquantino. Vinny Pasquantino himself, and I know he puts a lot on himself, he is the single biggest reason they're struggling. I don't think he's supposed to be like OPSing near 800 or something, and he stinks to the point where they just sat him out for a mental breather, I guess, the day off, and then with a day off to follow. That's not that, he's a 155 type guy, games. So that's probably the biggest single reason. But I would say it's that they could. I don't think we estimated that if they didn't play at what we thought each level could, that they still would win a reasonable amount of games. And 20 and 30 is not a reasonable amount of games. Rotation hasn't been quite as good as it was supposed to be, but it hasn't been bad. The offense has had streaks where they've been pretty good, but apparently in retrospect when we're looking at what we missed is we had to see the best of the Royals, and we have certainly not. But I think the best of the Royals, if they can put that together, is good enough to be a solidly above 500 team. If they can do that for the rest of the year, they got a shot. But they're putting themselves in a position also where they're obviously pressing. I think Vinny Pasquantino needs probably 2 weeks of good play to get over the scar tissue of being, I think he feels this. He feels like, I'm responsible for this. He's said that out loud. And unfortunately, he's right. He's not the only reason, but he's a huge part of it.
Does, I'm starting to wonder, is the back a bigger deal with him, and he's just not physically healthy, and he's just trying to gut it out and go out there and be there every day, but he, in reality, is not healthy.
That certainly is possible. I mean, he's had some kind of issue with his body, sort of hockey, they just say he's out with a lower body injury or upper body injury. He's had like one of those every year, kind of. So, yes, that could absolutely be the case. And another thing that's happening here is that the Royals might be conspiring to cost their best player an MVP award again. Because if, Judge isn't playing well right now, but say Oakland wins their division and Langoliers is still OPSing at 1,200 while playing catcher, he's going to win. So that's just a little sidelight of it. But I said going to this homestand, I thought 6-3 was mandatory. And now they got to win the rest of the 6.
Which I don't think any of us.
No, I don't see 2 sweeps in a row come. Or do they play 4 with the Yankees?
3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I just, I don't like it. And I want to be optimistic. And I do think that the team that we saw could go 64-48. The team that they were on paper could go 64-48.
That team does not exist right now.
It doesn't exist. Cole Reagans isn't out there. Chris Bubich isn't out there. Carlos Estevez isn't out there. And I'm just wondering, not because everybody, all the teams had some, not many had as many as they did, but did the WBC just screw up their head? Like they ramped it up into postseason mindset and then had to go back and be like, okay, calm down now just spring training. Now ramp back up, but not full go. Like, are they just – but, I mean, everybody else out there had players that were doing it, and it doesn't seem to have taken their toll.
Or is this just a letdown? I mean, this is like, wow, that was special. We're going back to the the day-to-day, going back to the factory. I mean, that was like a month of joy, especially for the Venezuelan players. Did Salvi think that was the capper of his career? Well, could have.
Probably.
Yeah.
How could he not?
Exactly.
Because he's already won a World Series. So he's done that. So this was the last great thing that he could do that he hasn't done. Yeah.
Right. And I think, this is purely talk show person sitting here saying this. I have no intel or anything. It's just observing. It looks to me like Michael Garcia is one of those players that's like teetering on being a problem. That when things are going great, he's gung-ho and he's an excellent player. But if things kind of go sour, like, well, I don't know about this.
Well, add in the fact that you could include the caveat until he proves otherwise, that when things are going great and you're fighting for a contract, then okay. Mm-hmm. But once the payday comes in and it's guaranteed, then you put it on cruise control.
Yeah, and we're losing again 3-1, and I just hit one to wherever, and I don't have to run.
Yeah, that play is.
The little things like that just give you kind of an indication.
Yeah.
He looks like a chip on his shoulder type of player to begin with, and if that chip is in the wrong place, then like when you're losing a bunch of games, maybe that's not a positive. Maybe that's a grumbly clubhouse presence.
It's back.
There's one dumbass. It's always the same car and the same horn.
And it's back, yes.
And it always takes 2 tries.
It must be a fun sensation over at their workplace. Oh, there's Bill, the dumbass. Hey, Bill.
Hey, dumbass.
Hey, dumbass.
You hear that?
The next time we just might fire your dumbass. We're tired of it. So, anyway.
Go. I was going to send the intern out there to photograph said individual, but that might be overdoing it a bit.
That might be a little bit.
Unless they listen to the show and they're like, let's go do it.
Anyway.
Let's hope they listen to the show.
There's 4.
Like, what are you trying to accomplish?
I don't know. I hope. Can people all hear it?
Yes, you can hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because when we have the door open, people are like, oh, the birds are loud today. We'll get a tweet,
Hey, there's a siren. Someone said they heard one of the
sirens
it was
go
just
by,
and they thought
there was
it
a conspiracy to get us to stop talking about the Royals.
You think?
Yeah, there it was. Michael Garcia went out and turned, just before he went to the ballpark, he turned his beeper on.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to get something figured out.
That'd be a bad sign, too, because it's 3:22. He should be on his way to the park by now.
Should already be there by now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
We said earlier that this is the first time we've gone into a weekend series and thought, whatever happens this weekend, you can't, no matter how good it is, you're going to feel pretty bad about this team still on Monday.
Right. If they sweep it, it'll give you a little jog, but it won't
you're still 7 under,
and you're still 7 under, and the Yankees are following.
I think
you're about to be 10 under.
Really, for me, I don't know. I really don't even know why I gave them to get to 10 under. When they got back to 9 under, it's like all the work you did is gone.
Yeah,
you just threw it away, and that really should have probably been it. But I gave them salvage 1 against the Red Sox. And then if you can go 2-1, 2-1, we get the 5-4 homestand that we said was the minimum they needed to do. But being swept at the hands of the Red Sox, like you said, they could still go 6-0. And if they do, I'll sing an entirely different tune. I mean, with new information.
But even with that, they'd be 4 games under 500.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the question that I've settled on that I think they need to decide, if they arrive where I have, that it's not going to happen this year, is deciding are we looking to do things at the deadline to be better in 27, or have we concluded that this mix doesn't work? And we need to start thinking about the 29-30, 30-31 season when we'll be leaving the K and moving into a new ballpark and making sure that we're in position to have a quality team on the field to fully maximize the revenues that are going to come. I think the final year of Kauffman Stadium is going to be everybody's going to want to go out. I think you're going to get a revenue boost there, but you're going to boost off whatever the winning is. If they suck, no one's going. Right? Like they'll get more than they would have, but it won't be a big haul. But if they're winning, I think they're $2 million plus. Right? Easy. I mean, I thought when they were going good, my prediction on one of our There Can Be Only Ones was that they'd get to 2.1 million fans this year. They were 1.8 and change last year. And that was coming off. That's because they sold more season tickets coming off 24, and wasn't really because. And the team was competitive. When they were humming along and looked like, okay, they've erased that 7-16 almost, and they're now a game and a half out, and they're in third place. I'm like, yeah, this is a $2 million. The turnstiles are going to spin now. No, that all seems to be gone. And so to me, it's about whether or not you're looking at 27 and saying we just need some minor tweaks. Or are we looking at it and going, we can tweak a couple of things, but we're just not deep enough, and we need to put it off and look to the future?
I think people like us would have a much easier time in looking at it through a good lens, an accurate lens. I think the franchise themselves, just one season plus off a playoff appearance, an injury-riddled season. These are things that they might be saying internally.
Yeah.
An injury-riddled season last year, Vinny Pasquantino having a complete aberration / injury plagued, like you said before, season, lose our closer at the start of the year. Those things can be explained away. They can. Now, it probably was a little easier when everybody in the division was at 500 or worse.
Yeah.
Now the Guardians are 8 games. You're 10 games back.
That's the change now. Yes, it's entirely different now. It's an entirely different look. All right, let's take a break. Danny Klinkseal's with us, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Don't forget they do siding as well. Repair, full siding replacement. Great way to upgrade the curb appeal. Protect your home. You can even take a look at what the siding will look like right there on your home. It's ideal if you need any kind of repair or brand new siding. Designed to hold up to Kansas City's weather, the James Hardy Fiber Cement, known for durability and long-term performance. See what the siding looks like on your house before you buy it with Easton Roofing. Paint fade warranties up to 15 years. Go to eastonroofing.com.
The program with Soren Petro.
I would put the lid back on the Kentucky Fried Chicken barrel and put it out there in the sun, and it was not unlike a heat.
All right, the Twin Peaks, end of the hour answer. How many play-by-play voices have called at least 100 games in the World Series, NBA Finals, or Stanley Cup Final?
How many?
Radio or TV, yes.
Wait, give me that one more time.
How many play-by-play voices have called at least 100 games in the World Series, NBA Finals, or Stanley Cup Final? Radio
so any
or
of
TV.
them.
Yes, and any one of them.
Well, Marv Albert.
Nope.
No, really?
Mike, what's the hockey guy's name? Mike with the glasses.
Doc Emmerich?
Doc Emmerich.
Yep.
Mike Emmerich.
Yeah.
110. You got that.
My Syracuse guy, Sean McDonough.
No.
No?
Nope.
I think he gets moved around too often and was
Yeah.
only at the top for a frightfully ridiculous
A couple of guys who
period
are
of time.
active, although one of them is no longer doing the sport that he.
Joe Buck.
Joe Buck did 100. He has the most, 135 World Series games.
Mike Breen there.
Mike Breen,
NBA.
112 NBA Finals, hit number 100 back in 23.
Kurt Gowdy.
24. Nope. Again, this is radio and or television. Two of the guys are mostly radio guys. One guy did a little bit of both.
Schulman.
Nuh-uh.
Mostly radio.
Two NBAs and one baseball.
Two NBAs.
Two NBA Finals, one World Series.
And
it
but that's
wasn't
not
Marv?
100.
No, there's two of the guys. There are six is the number of guys.
Okay.
Now we're just trying to get names. Two guys.
I don't know.
Yeah, let's go.
Vin Scully, World Series,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
and Chick Hearn, 121. Johnny Most, 105.
Oh, jeez.
So I was just thinking national.
No, I said radio or TV World Series, NBA Finals.
Oh,
Stanley
this
Cup
wasn't
Final.
national. You sure?
Yes, this is according
Okay.
to ESPN's.
Yeah, I don't think Johnny
media.
Most ever did any.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah.
do any. That's
Yeah.
why I wasn't thinking in terms of him. I thought we just meant
Johnny
national
Most
guys.
didn't do anything except the Celtics.
Yeah,
He didn't even, he did. You know what his side gig at one time was? He worked at the same radio station I did. When my first job out of
Wow.
college, he did a talk show on Monday, and the news director used to have to drive him home because he used to drink a whole bottle of scotch during his 1-hour show.
Good man.
And this is like a I don't know, 1,000-watt radio station. It was my first place I worked. I was on the air all the time. If you didn't like Danny, I did midday drive, 9 to 1 DJ. I was an afternoon newsman. I had a talk show, and I did all the games. Sometimes I was on the air from 9 in the morning till whenever the game ended, nonstop. So it's like, boy, I don't like that clink scale. Well, you don't like WMRC then.
Yeah.
I'm the only one on.
So
Yeah.
if people are
Except
like,
for Johnny Most for an hour a week.
so those are people out there who can't handle you for an hour a week, but just
He
imagine
went
if
through
you
a
had to-
whole bottle in an hour.
Yeah.
What size are we talking here?
They're sort of
A little
the,
fifth or
No, one of the
750?
yeah, the 750.
Not the 175. I'm assuming.
No, not the jug handle. No,
Okay.
I wouldn't do that. And then probably a pack of cigarettes, maybe in that
Oh, that part.
in that time.
That's why his broadcast sounded like it did.
like this. Oh, tell me
I
about this.
I have so many funny. One time I was listening. I flipped on the game, and they're playing the Bucks, and they're playing and Alcindor. He's still Alcindor at this point, and Dave Cowens is the center for the Celtics.
Right.
And so it's like, and down the comes Big Red. Big Red takes it to the right. He's taking it to Alcindor, and he scores. Oh, Big Red is wearing out Alcindor. Here, the Celtics are within 4. And then he come up down the other end, and they give it into
Skyhook Kareem Good.
Skyhook Alcindor. Good. He's got 47. I'm like, oh, yeah. Cowens is wearing him out.
Yeah, he's really taking it to him.
Taking
yeah.
it to him.
Yeah. Good
I
job.
thought taking it to him, Celtics pulled within 4 was already a step
Yeah.
in that direction.
Yeah, we'd already headed that way.
Alcindor with
Dave
47.
Cowens, one of the more. Did you ever interview him at the Final Four?
I did not.
He's fantastic.
Is he really?
He
Okay.
slept on a park bench one of the nights they won a championship.
After winning the championship
Yeah,
or
that
leading
night-
up to the
that-
game?
That night.
Okay.
After.
I think I have heard that story
Yeah.
from him, but
He's a cool guy. When you talk to him, you can just imagine that he would think it was cool to sleep on a park bench.
for sure. Rashi Rice.
Oh, he's probably slept on a park bench, I would think.
I don't know his sleeping habits.
That'd be good accommodations right now.
I've got a pretty good idea about the driving habits and how serious he takes his probation.
That's the biggest problem to me. Not the probation, not. I've talked about this before. We just talk about it like it was a crime. It was a potential tragedy, is what he was involved in. Not just a crime, a potential horrible tragedy, like a multi-car fatality type of thing.
To the point where you're almost like, well, that could have been. It probably should have been.
Right.
If you think about it.
Lucky it was not.
Yes.
And then, with only having to, just get off the weed for a month, just to get it over with. Can't do that. So how seriously is he taking anything? You always, what do we hear all the time from these football executives or coaches? We like Joe Blow because he loves football. Nobody loves football more than him. Rashee Rice clearly doesn't love football. He loves other things besides football. That's his right. He wants to smoke weed or drive fast. I mean, it's the other one I would not recommend, but at least you have to, the police are involved, so you want to do it, you can, if you're willing to risk it. But that doesn't strike you as somebody that, first of all, you have any business thinking about giving a contract to, even if he had a good year this year. And secondly, why bother? It's like a ticking time bomb. And as you said the other day, he has the ability to be, I think, a very good receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any danger he's all of a sudden going to morph into Randy Moss. So
none.
It's
he doesn't
not,
have
or Santana
no.
Moss.
It's not. you take that probably. At least he'd be consistent.
Yeah.
So, I don't think. I think this is really a fool's errand to talk about them getting rid of him, because I don't think they will. But I'd probably wash my hands of it. Let him. Maybe he gets a run of games together, and then you're thinking, ooh, maybe somebody will spring a fourth rounder on us. We'll trade him. But that's the only hope. And why wait around for that?
I don't think anybody's trading you anything for him. No chance, as far as I'm concerned on that one. They'd be like, if you even brought the idea up, they'd be like, I'll wait till you cut him. If you're calling me, you're gonna cut him. So I ain't giving you anything. And my frustration is that he came back last year and they didn't do anything.
Right.
Now it's like, well, he was coming off the knee injury, and now he's coming off another surgery.
And I heard you talking about this.
Where he's going to rehab in jail.
In jail. Well, that's no bueno. Okay, I know firsthand. I ruptured my patellar tendon. It's a worse injury than an ACL, but for insurance purposes, they only allowed me 20 personal physical therapy sessions. So I spread them out, and it wasn't enough. And my knee has never been the same.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a professional athlete. Secondly, the instructions they gave me to rehab this knee injury properly would have taken me between 5 and 6 hours per day. Obviously, I was working man. You don't have the time, even if you're serious about it. I was serious about it. Still, that's the type of effort that I'm sure Patrick Mahomes is putting in to rehab his injury. That ain't happening in jail. No way. You don't have the facilities. You don't have anybody else pushing you. That's the thing about rehab. Somebody, even the most diligent person, is not going to stretch the scar tissue, bend their knee in a way that's uncomfortable. First of all, they can't do it usually. Somebody else has to be doing it.
Anyone who saw quarterback and saw what Mahomes had to do in those weeks after he's had that high ankle sprain.
And to your point,
you can't do that by yourself.
Your body heals in a way to make you comfortable, not to make you a fine-tuned athlete. That's what my knee did to this day. I walk, my leg will not straighten all the way. And, using personal examples is silly, but I'm just telling you that even in this dumb personal example, my knee has never been able to be completely straightened because I couldn't do the rehab to the full extent. He's in jail. He can't.
Yeah.
There's so many reasons that
to just cut bait. And it seems to me that the only person that would want to stand in the way of it is the guy who's like, well, I need him for my offense. Like it feels like it has to be an Andy Reid thing.
I would say that it is one of Andy Reid's failings,
Sure.
not only from, I mean, he has faith in other people's, in his ability to get the best out of people when they have done their worst.
Or he has a blind spot and won't deal with reality.
Right.
Could
One
it
or
be
the
a
other.
Patrick Mahomes thing?
No.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either. I
don't think so.
I agree.
You think he wants to
No.
coddle to a
Think
person
he'd be
who's
the
not
other-
serious
No.
about
I
his
think it'd be the
work?
complete opposite, probably.
Danny Klinkskill's with us. Little Danny Unleashed, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, Kansas City's best. Don't forget the commercial roofing side. They are dedicated, have an entirely dedicated division to the commercial roofing. They can handle repairs and full roof replacements, I should say. They'll diagnose the problem correctly. They don't just patch the symptoms, right? Get to the bottom of it, minimizing tenant disruption, protecting you for the long term. That's Easton Roofing. Find them online at eastonroofing.com. You're listening to the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Danny Unleashed, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, Kansas City's best when it comes to putting a roof over your family's heads. Don't forget they do gutter covers as well. 4 different gutter cover options. They can fit any budget. Go ahead. Protect your foundation. You don't want all that water running down right there. Protect your siding, protect your landscaping. Custom fit, professionally installed. Get those gutters and gutter covers done right with Easton Roofing. They're online at eastonroofing.com. We were talking about the Chiefs, Danny.
Yes, we were. You're not going to let me celebrate Arsenal winning the Premier League.
Well, congratulations. Yeah, they did.
Move on to the Chiefs.
It's been a while. It's been a while. You and Nate are all giddy.
Very giddy.
Yeah.
Very giddy.
Congratulations.
It looked like they were going to blow it, and then they didn't.
Oh, it did? Because they were kind of running away with it at one point, weren't they?
They were up by 10 points a month ago and actually lost the whole league.
Wow.
And Man City was tied with them and had the goals advantage. But then they drew a game, and Arsenal ended up doing it. So.
Okay. Well, good for you.
And you know who has and then Man City tied Bournemouth, who almost left English football in 2009 and now has 17 consecutive games without a loss in the Premier League and are going to play European football next year.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough of that. Let's go back to the Chiefs before anybody throws.
That is impressive, to say the least. Do you think this offense is going to now? No Rashee Rice at OTA's minicamp, no Patrick Mahomes, a defense that Sam pointed out on our Red Golden Bowl today. Sam McDowell. Basically, if you count the nickel back as a starter, kind of say there's 12 starters. That 6 of their 12 are new.
I think there's a tremendous amount of question marks. The thought that they're going to, the prevailing thought that I see just about everywhere nationally is that the Chiefs are going to just rebound to what they were. And I think that is possible. But I think it's clearly a question. I think that Kenneth Walker is a very important piece. I think they need star quality play out of him to take a lot of pressure off. To prove that Andy Reid is adaptable at his age to doing something a little bit different that might be for the good of the team that doesn't maybe fit into his comfort zone, which is run the football more. I think Patrick Mahomes would be glad to have it. I mean, I think the Bills were the team that ran the most in the league last year, and they still threw the ball more than they ran. It was close, but it's not like Pat's going to be sitting back there being Bob Greasy. Or Terry Bradshaw,
7 of 6 or 6 of 7.
While the Rams' offense was eminently more successful than the Chiefs, they ran it, and you think of them as just pounding the rock. They ran it, I think it was a total of 14 more times than the Chiefs. That's it, just 14. And they threw it, I think, I'll have to go back and look at this, but I want to say it was like 30 more times. They had like 44 more plays than the Chiefs. But they averaged 1.7 yards per attempt more.
Right, because I think they're...
that was in the passing game. In the running game, I think it was like 0.8.
I think their sequencing probably was a little more effective. And they use play action, which is... They're a very effective play action team. And the Chiefs get nothing out of that aspect of the game. Which, to me, when I watch football for years and years, a nicely executed play action play is just a joy to watch.
Yeah.
And it's a great play.
Yeah.
You're freezing people. You've established the running game that has people guessing a little bit, and your quarterback generally gets a lot more time to throw. It's perfect.
Yeah. That's the big question. We'll see what we get. Yep. Danny, have yourself a great weekend, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
All right, the Knicks have won 9 straight games in these playoffs. What team had the longest winning streak within a single playoff season without winning the title? Brought to you by La Feta Delicatessen.
Second half of the program begins right now. We're talking to the people covering the stories where they're happening. We call it the 2-minute drill. It's brought to you by our friends at Joslin's Jewelry. Gary Joslin and his staff, Kansas City's best, most knowledgeable. There's a reason why they were voted the #1 jewelry store to do business with. That's right, #1 by Ingram's Magazine. You're looking for an engagement ring? They've got almost 1,000 to choose from. Maybe it's a birthday. How about hundreds of different birthstone pieces of jewelry? Yes. Only the most scintillating diamonds are good enough for Gary. Happy to do repairs. Happy to do appraisals. Everything a full-service jeweler would do. Mom and pop, you bet. Locally owned and operated, almost 50 years serving Kansas City. Get there at 95th and Antioch. It's about a mile north of 435. At 95th and Antioch, you are treated like family the moment you walk in the door, and you will never, ever find a more knowledgeable staff than Joslin's Jewelry. Why on earth would you go anywhere else? Don't. Go to Joslin's Jewelry, 95th and Antioch, online at joslinsjewelry.com. Let's get things started. We begin in Denver, Colorado. Mike Rice, 104.3 The Fan in Denver, is up first. Mike, how are you, sir?
I'm well, Soren. Hope you are, too.
Yeah, doing good. The Avs were my pick to win this series, so, of course, they're down 1-0. What happened? Why, when they've looked so good, could they not handle the Las Vegas Knights in Game 1?
Didn't execute like they needed to. That was pretty much the theme from Nate McKinnon, the rest of the guys in the room after the game, and certainly from Jared Bednar as well. I personally think Coach Bednar wants them to play faster, wants them to be more crisp in all of their execution, and they just weren't that. And when you're not that in the Western Conference Finals, there's a very good chance you'll get beat no matter where they play, and that's what happened to the Avs in Game 1.
Yeah, okay. Do you agree that it'll be a giant disappointment if they don't win the series?
I missed that. Say again?
Do you think it'll be a giant disappointment if they don't win the series?
Well, certainly. Yeah, there's no doubt. The way they loaded up at the trade deadline, the way you're smack dab in the middle of the McKinnon era / window. Even he had said during the year, it is cup or bust. So from their standpoint, they will be disappointed by anything except hoisting Lord Stanley.
Yeah, okay. How about the Nuggets, the way they wrapped up, getting bounced by the Timberwolves, wasn't the way they thought this year was going to go? Are changes coming, or do they just think, nope, let's try to add a piece here, a piece there, and maybe be a little bit healthier, and we'll be fine?
I think there will be changes, mainly because of the economic picture. If they want to keep Peyton Watson, you're probably looking at a floor or a range of, say, 90 to 110 million perhaps for 4 years. I know Bobby Marks came out with sort of the 4-year, $90 million estimate. And if the Nuggets want to keep him, they have shown zero appetite to pay any kind of luxury tax, go into the second apron. And I'm just going by that history, Soren. For that reason alone, I think there'll be changes coming. It wouldn't shock me at all if one of the core starters, not named Nikola Jokic, were traded this offseason, or certainly if they tried to make some sort of deal like that.
Yeah, I think they've got to freshen it up somehow. I'm not sure. I love Murray. I think he's a very underrated player. Jokic is great and may even be underrated with his greatness that's there. But I do think they need to maybe shuffle the deck a little bit with what's around them. I look forward to seeing what they get done. The Broncos opening week 1 at the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. We can read Twitter. People were not happy in Denver, were they?
No, I mean, I think it's a tough matchup. I think for both teams really to start the year, divisional game. Obviously, the questions around Patrick on your end, and here a lot of questions. I think generally here the people were more upset over just the strength of the first games. It is 6 games. It is a gauntlet of a stretch over the first 6 weeks for the Broncos. Sorry, that's my jet going by, Soren. But it's a really, really tough first 6 games, and then it gets much easier sort of in the next 7 or 8 games before finishing tough. I think fans here were more upset by that than specifically opening against the Chiefs on the road.
Yeah, okay. It just seemed like everyone was like, oh, I can't believe we won the division. I think you get something if you win the Super Bowl, not if you win the division. But
right.
We'll see. Will Bo Nix be under center for that game? How confident are we that he'll be healthy?
Well, I mean, I think based on what the Broncos say, people should be confident. Then again, he had a cleanup procedure in that ankle that wasn't scheduled. And so, are they sort of fudging that a little bit? And maybe there was more damage than initially thought. I don't know. I am expecting Bo Nix to play week 1. But I would also say, and there are people who are much more pessimistic than I'm looking at it from the standpoint of the ankle is something to monitor, perhaps be a little bit concerned about, but until there's another issue, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Okay. All right. Finally, Mickey Moniak, the Rockies failed 1-1. Comes to the Rockies, really seems to have turned his career around, OPSing over 900. I know they're starting to make some progress. I know they, after kind of a 500-ish start, they've kind of slumped back. But is there at least a feeling that they've identified one piece of the puzzle here moving forward?
I hope so, and I hope they can get a longer-term deal done. By all accounts, he likes playing here. He enjoys being here, which, I mean, you don't always hear about players with the Rockies. But, no, it has been a bit of a rejuvenation for a guy that was the first overall pick in the draft not all that long ago. And as you said, he just was never able to get any traction in Philly or his other stops. And so I think it's great to see, yeah, the Rockies are more competitive. It's a more professional operation. And, Soren, based on where they've been, those are two major steps forward in the early part of this season. They truly are.
Yeah, no, it certainly looks promising, at least that they're off to a good start. We'll see if they can build on that as they move forward. Mike Rice in Denver, Colorado. Great stuff as always, my friend. We appreciate it. Thanks so much and have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too, my friend.
It's raining in Baltimore.
Glenn Clark Radio in Baltimore, Maryland is next. Glenn, how are you, sir?
Well, I can't say things look promising for the Orioles, however, Soren.
Yeah, last year was disappointing, and after having such a good year 2 years before, there was a feeling like, okay, we'll run it back. This time we'll get it all figured out. They changed some of the pieces, but it seems to be the same thing. Why? Why are they still so stagnant?
Yeah, I mean, the lack of legitimate starting pitching, I think, this year stands out. And it's not to absolve, like, Gunnar Henderson is struggling. And he and Adley Rutschman have kind of flip-flopped, right? Like, you and I had this conversation a year ago, and it's what's going on with Adley Rutschman. Well, Adley Rutschman now looks like the guy that we saw from 3 years ago, but Gunnar Henderson's become kind of all or nothing. If he's not hitting home runs, he's not helping, and he's not playing good defense. And while they did go out and get Pete Alonso, they needed top-of-the-rotation pitching. That was their need. They said that. Mike Elias said that publicly, and the best starting pitching that they went out and got was Shane Baz and Chris Bassett, and neither one of them are working. It's just kind of a mess. And I think the starting pitching stands out the most, but it's not the only problem. They seem to have some foundational problems with trying to chase hard hit and not getting the contact that they need in certain spots. But they're in some real trouble at the moment because, as you point out, it's now, you go back to the midway point of the 2024 season, it's the better part of 2 full years of disappointing to downright bad baseball, and they're running out of time to show that they still have direction to move towards being a competitive team.
Yeah, that is, it's frustrating. Jackson Holliday being hurt doesn't help. The Hammett bone injury means he's probably not going to hit for any power this year. That usually takes about a year for that power to come back around, and he had complications in trying to get back. So, this good young core, either they can't get them all on the field and they can't get them all going at the same time, and that's got to be horribly frustrating for the organization, I'm sure.
Well, it's definitely frustrating for the organization, and they'll tell you they're searching for answers. I do still think the cautionary tale is everyone knew when you got this group together that then you needed to surround it by this is when you go out and spend, and this is when you bring in those pieces. And since 2023, the Orioles acquired 1 year of Corbin Burns and now Pete Alonso. And I think when we look back at what went wrong, I think they've relied too much on it all being carried by this group. And I think everyone's disappointed by the way that Gunnar Henderson has performed this season. And I think that you should expect more. But they have asked for this group to go from, hey, this is a nice core, to you've got to be the superstars with very little outside help. And I think that they have let this rebuild process, or whatever you want to call the other end of the rebuild process, I think they've failed to capitalize on it after getting that talent. They're not out of time yet, The American League is, as you guys know in Kansas City, is not very good. Everybody's within a couple of games of a playoff spot, but this is kind of a watershed moment for this franchise right now to make sure they stay afloat moving towards July.
Yeah, they Taylor Ward they grabbed as well. Another one of the additions.
Tyler O'Neill. I mean, yeah, it's a bunch of kind of like marginal moves that they've made. They just didn't do the things they needed to do to truly go all in to surround that young talent.
All right, we'll see as we get into the hot months what they do. They got a couple months to start getting things going in the right direction, or I think they'll be sellers at that trade deadline again. So we'll see what happens. Baltimore Ravens, what's our reaction to the schedule and how the schedule makers treated the Ravens?
Yeah, it sets up pretty well for them, other than obviously they got to make the trip to Brazil, and that's a little bit tough because they don't have a buffer on either end. They're playing regular Sunday games on both sides of that, so that'll hurt. But I really do think that it sets up quite fairly for the Ravens. Otherwise, they're backloaded with a bunch of division games, but you know, if Lamar Jackson is healthy, and I get that that's, you know, something that we say is an if, then this is a division that they should be at the front of. The Steelers are limited to what they can do with Aaron Rodgers, their quarterback. The Bengals still don't have a defense or an offensive line. If Joe Burrow's healthy, which is a far bigger if than if Lamar Jackson is healthy in his career, then obviously they're going to be competitive. So that's a tricky stretch down at the end, playing so many division games in December and into January. But it is a really fair schedule for the Ravens that is not daunting early on as Jesse Minter tries to find his way into being a first-year head coach and Declan Doyle a first-time play caller. At Indianapolis to start in the team that we don't know where Daniel Jones is going to be, home for the Saints before the Brazil trip. They have an opportunity to really make some hay, get some wins, sort of erase the taste of last season and move into the more difficult part of the schedule into October and November.
You mentioned Lamar Jackson's health. Where is it right now?
Right now, I mean, he wasn't at OTAs this week, but he was there for minicamp, which is not something you see a lot from Lamar Jackson in the offseason. And look good. We still don't know all of the details of the he can play, he can't play from last season, and we probably never fully will. But he has been out there. Jesse Minter said this week that they believe he'll be back before the off-season program ends, that he just was away for personal reasons this week. So he is. If you take Jesse Minter at his word, Lamar has been extraordinarily involved in the off-season program and has been a leader. And that's something that they need, obviously, with a new head coach and a first-time play caller.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. They try to put it back together. There's a lot of them, Bengals, Ravens, Chiefs, all teams that are used to being in the postseason that are, especially the Ravens and Chiefs. Maybe the Bengals haven't earned that spot with them, but trying to get back. Even the Bills, who were in the playoffs, disappointed. So it'll be interesting to see what the old guard does now that the New England Patriots have arrived. Glenn Clark, great stuff, buddy. We appreciate it. Have yourself a great weekend, my friend.
You as well, Seren. Thank you, brother.
Alec Medford, 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, Texas, is next. We appreciate the time. Alec, how are you, my friend?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing very good. What's the reaction to the Cowboys' schedule?
So far, so good. It's pretty interesting. You've got some fun, uncommon opponents. You've got some fun road matchups, including split up by a bye week. You have week 13 and 15 both on the road against Seattle and Los Angeles. So there's going to be some tough road matchups. You do have an international game in the early part of the season in Rio on week 3 against Baltimore, which is going to be a fun one. But overall, I think at least Vegas is telling you that there's a little bit more optimism this year for the Cowboys compared to last year, even with the little amount of money that they spent, but a solid draft class and a new defensive coordinator. Seems like everybody's feeling a little bit more amped up going into this offseason.
Yeah, are they thinking they're going to get impact from that draft right away?
Oh, absolutely. With Caleb Downs, you expect him to be an impact player immediately, but Malachi Lawrence, the second first-round pick that they made there at number 23 overall, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at what he can do early on, especially in the run game. With his athleticism, he is going to be asked to do a lot. He might not be a week 1 starter per se, but he will get a lot of playing time, and he will get a lot of the snaps defensively. So I think you're you're going to see some good contribution early on from some of these defenders.
We heard audio of the Cowboys trying to trade up with the Browns to get to pick number 6. Any word on who they were looking to get to?
Yeah, there were a couple options that would have been in play for them there. They really did like Mansour Delane, the corner that ended up going to Kansas City, was a player for them. And then really all those conversations did start earlier in the day when they didn't exactly know who was going to be there. They loved Arvell Reese. He ended up going a pick before. David Bailey was a name that kept getting thrown around, even though we all kind of knew that he could go as early as 2 or 3, and that's what ended up happening. But it would have been for one of the premier defenders still. And I think Mansour Delane would have been the pick.
Okay. All right. That's important for Chiefs fans to know because they all talk about, well, he would have been there because New Orleans or Washington, they weren't going to take him. I'm like, Cleveland was moving out of 6 with somebody. Sure. And that you got to factor in who that would be. It's interesting to note the Cowboys. Mansour Delane, that's who I think they would have been going up for if they were going to go up that high. Let's talk about the Mavericks. Draft right around the corner. They've got picks 9, 30, and 48, plus the reigning Rookie of the Year now in Cooper Flagg. What are they looking to put around him? Is it definitely draft picks, or could they be moving picks for more proven players?
I think everything's on the table when you have Masai Ujiri running things here. He is not averse to making a big move that isn't necessarily being talked about at any point. He moves in silence, and he's got a lot of friends in the league and a lot of connections, and I'm sure he's already working the phones just trying to gauge some general interest. And moving up would be an option, too, and still making a pick. I think the Clippers pick there at, I believe, number 5 would make a ton of sense as well. They seem pretty desperate to get that pick. But I think they ultimately stay put and pick, if not try to get more assets going into the draft. They would like to have some people that line up with same timeline contractually and just overall big picture with Cooper Flagg. So I think that you could see skilled shooter is really what they need. So Braden Burries out of Arizona is a name that's come up a lot. I think they love him early in the process. But really at that pick in this class specifically, they're more than comfortable with just kind of waiting out and seeing who falls to them, really picking the best player on the board.
I don't know what they could get for Kyrie Irving, but he's scheduled to be back. Are they adamant that they want him with it, or could they be dangling him in an effort to move up or to get more picks or to shuffle the deck with some different players? What do you think his future is there in Dallas?
They're certainly going to get a volume of calls received about him, but they don't seem motivated to move him. And Masai Ujiri, he's the king of being vague in his press conferences and whatnot. He will not give you direct answers unless he means it, and he has literally cut off reporters mid-question when bringing up the idea of Kyrie and Cooper just to be like, man, the idea of that seems like something, and that would be a sight to behold. And he even mentioned just a couple of days ago, whenever he spoke to the media, he said, Kevin Durant told me once upon a time that there's only one Kyrie walking this earth, and there only ever will be one Kyrie to walk this earth. So he was like, in the right circumstances, you've got to find a way to make him fit, even if it doesn't fit what you're thinking on paper. He's like, whenever you have him on your team, you make it work. So he seems like he really wants to have Kyrie Irving on this team, and take his words at face value for now, but they're going to get some calls for sure. There's plenty of interested teams out there.
Let's talk about the Rangers, 24 and 25. This kind of seems like last year all over again. They made some more moves trying to push beyond. Sorry about that. I apologize. You got some people that are excited on the other side of the glass. They made some moves thinking that they could push beyond what they did last year, but it looks a lot like last year. What's missing this time?
Yeah, it's a lot of the same like you just mentioned, and really what's missing is just that pop offensively, and part of it is health, and what the interesting part is whenever you start naming some of these bats that are hurt or banged up, they're guys that are traditionally hurt or banged up, or guys that were not doing too well before being banged up, example being Corey Seager, Wyatt Langford, so on and so forth. And again, it's kind of like last year and kind of like the World Series run in 2023 where the area that you went into the season being the most worried about ends up being the most consistent part of your team, and that's your bullpen. Your bullpen has been outstanding with a group of nobodies, essentially. No household names running around. You don't have Aroldis Chapman running around closing out games for you. You don't have any of that. You have guys like 38-year-old Chris Martin, who's coming off the injured list and whatnot. So really it's just been the consistency offensively, and then even some struggles in the rotation. Nathan Eovaldi has been far from perfect to start the season. Mackenzie Gore, who you acquired from the Nationals for a haul of prospects, he has been so polarizing. He has an 8-inning masterclass a couple weeks ago, and then just about a week ago he doesn't even make it out of the first inning. So it's just been such a mixed bag, but offensively you just continue to skid. You're not getting much out of your first baseman. When he was healthy, your second baseman, Josh Smith, was absolutely horrendous offensively. So really everybody's just hitting the lowest of lows, which we thought couldn't happen again after last year, and it's kind of repeating itself.
Yeah, it is. And, pitching-wise, Jacob deGrom's making all his starts. That's supposed to be a positive for the ball club. Just kind of frustrating, I think. But they're in the AL West. That means they're a game and a half out with that record. So everything's still on the table for them. We'll see what they do as they get to the hot summer months and what they do if they get to the deadline. We'll find out. Alec Medford in Dallas, Texas. Great stuff, buddy. We appreciate it. Have yourself a great weekend, my friend.
Likewise. Talk to you soon.
All right, the La Feta Delicatessen, end of the hour answer. Knicks have won 9 straight games in these playoffs. What team had the longest winning streak within a single playoff season without winning the title?
Longest playoff streak, what's the number?
11.
They won 11 games and then didn't win the title. So they were, because now it takes 16. But at one point, like when the Kings were in town, it was 2 out of 3 in the first round.
All right.
Then was it 3 out of 5 in the next? Then they went to a 3 out of 5.
Something like that.
Oof. The Lakers get off on a roll, and then the Suns took them out, or the Mavs take them out one of those years?
You're on the right track. 1989 Lakers, two-time defending champions.
I got it.
Yep.
What am I on the right track? I got it right. The Lakers.
The teams. 3-0, 4-0, 4-0. But they got just destroyed injuries when they swept. I think they swept Phoenix and then Portland.
And then they had Magic and Byron Scott go down against the Pistons. Is that what it was?
And then got swept.
Yeah. Lakers in what year?
1989.
1989.
Started 11-0. Longest streak ever for a champ is 15.
When was their back-to-back?
87-88.
Yeah, so they were going for 3 in a row.
Yep.
They're barreling towards
11-0 and fell apart. Got banged up, and then the Pistons were just a wagon. It was their time. Or 63.
I think their time might have been the next year. I think the Lakers would have won if there was no Magic and Byron Scott going down. Their whole backcourt went down.
Yeah, but they got swept.
Their whole backcourt went down
by a team that took them to 9.
And I think Byron Scott might have been their leading scorer that year. And then Magic was Magic.
Yeah. I still like Detroit in that series.
No. That's erroneous on all accounts.
With home court.
Erroneous on all accounts.
Wins.
No.
Longest ever for a champion is 15 by the 2017 Warriors, who were 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, 3-0. Were about to be the first team ever to go unbeaten, and then the Cavs, for some reason, decided to get stupid and win Game 4 to annoy me, and then lost in 5. Like, what was that all about?
It annoyed you because you didn't get to see history.
I wanted to see history. That was a meaningless loss. It just completely destroyed.
How many nights has a positive event from the Royals just irritated you because you had a
handful,
whole big thing set up about worst since?
Certainly a handful, because there have been more in my time covering this team. There have been more bad history that I've looked up than good history. So quite often I'm at the ballpark going, come on, just don't score a run. Why'd they score? They scored a stupid run. Why did you do that? Why? But
yeah.
It's okay.
By the way, did you see the stat that there's a sidebar. By the way, we just give away La Feta Italian Delicatessen. Wonderful place for you to grab some sandwiches tonight. Don't want to cook tonight? Don't. Go by and get the best sandwiches in town. They're at La Feta Italian Delicatessen. Find them online at lafetadeli.com. They cater. Their charcuterie boards are fantastic. The sandwich trays are incredible. All kinds of great import items, all kinds of great food and snack items that are there as well. Go see them today. They're at 143rd and Metcalf on the southeast corner. Tell them you heard about it right here on the program. They're friends of the program. They're listeners.
Oh, yeah.
Good people there.
I'll see you guys in about 90 minutes.
There you go. Curtis's Friday Jam.
My Friday.
The Queen.
The Queen.
Okay.
With also some pasta salad. Their pasta salad's really good, too.
Oh, good.
Stunning, right?
Good to know. Yeah, it's shocking. But did you see that the Chiefs are second lowest in wide receiver spending?
I did.
I mean, in some ways you get it, because what wideout are you wanting to re-sign?
Yeah.
And when they've gone out and spent, I mean, they overpaid for Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and he disappointed, even acknowledging that you overpaid for him. Like, that does have to change. I'm going to say that, like, if they don't, no matter what happens this year, they've got to invest in wide receiver.
Yeah. And I couldn't find the source for that list, so I went to Spotrac and looked at combined AAV, cash, and cap. All three of those, and they're in the bottom 3 or 4. Only 3 teams have less combined AAV than the Chiefs at the wide receiver position: the Bears, Chargers, and Dolphins. And I think they're about that on cash as well. Let's see, cash, they are
they're not
28th. You throw Carolina in underneath them. And on cap, they are 30th. Only the Chargers and Dolphins are below them. So, not a lot.
No, and I think the thing that they've got to do, if they want to keep fueling this around Patrick Mahomes, who they're going to have to rework his deal next year and give him a big number, which he deserves, they are going to have to start flipping some players. Like, instead of signing Trey Smith, trade Trey Smith. Get draft picks.
Yeah.
You know, like, they did the right thing on Trent McDuffie. I wonder what they would have gotten if they'd have gone even earlier, like the last
previous
in training camp. No,
I
we're
see what you're
trying.
saying. Yeah.
It's easier to say right now that, you know, well, they had a bad year, so they should have traded him. I know that's after the fact, but we did have this conversation that, listen, you reached out to him because Brett Veach said they'd had talks. You reached out to him, but weren't able to get it done. Now's when you trade him.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's where they have to get to is, like, if there's someone they want to extend and he doesn't extend, 2 years out where you can bring the number down over the long haul, then you got to flip him.
And if you establish that precedent and stick to it, that may give you something of an edge in future situations, because the guy who's coming up, he's going to know. He's going to know what the story is. Maybe that helps them, but it might help the Chiefs as well. It may get a player to do something they may not have. They may want to wait on.
I just think you get to a point where, it gets a lot easier. I think the Chiefs have not gotten comfortable with doing that. Like, no. Trent McDuffie, you'd be like, well, they did with Trent McDuffie. They did not have room to pay Trent McDuffie.
Yeah, they were forced.
Somebody had to go.
Yeah. And
the guy that was going to bring the most was Trent McDuffie.
And if they had room, they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. And there are a couple of spots on this roster that, like, one of the topics, we're kicking around on our Red Golden Bold is, like, who are the 5 to 8 guys that are going to be here in 4 years? And because that's about how much that turns over. Right now there are 10 guys on this roster that were here 4 years ago.
Wow.
Right? So there's 4
for the first of the back-to-backs.
Yeah, if you go back 4 years, there are 4 seasons that are completed. Right? So this isn't 3 years. This isn't going into 4 years ago. This is 4 completed seasons ago. There are 10 guys. 2 of them are Harrison Butker and James Winchester.
Wow. So 2 of the, not even starting 22, 2 of the other 50. There's basically, 3 special teams guys. So the rest of them's 50. 2 out of 50.
I mean, they had guys that were kind of hanging on with, like, the Mike Dana's, Derek Notties, but with that, let me look here. I'll give you the names. Who has been here more than 4 years? Because that would be the 23 draft class would be out. 23, 24, 25. Yeah, so the 23s haven't been here that long. So it would be 22 and beyond.
Yeah.
Right? And the only one from the 22 is George Karlaftis.
Wow.
He's the only one left from that draft. That great draft that we talk about all the time,
mm-hmm.
He's the only one. Butker and Winchester. That's 3. Nobody in the secondary. Nick Bolton came in the 21 draft. And then Chris Jones. And that is your defense, because I already said Karlaftis, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 5. Then on offense, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, and I feel like I'm missing somebody because that's 9. Oh, and Noah Gray. Those are the 10 players that are still on this roster from 4 years ago.
And 2 of them are special teamers.
2 of them are special teamers, so there's 8 that are on your 22.
Yeah. 8 of 50. If you think about it, there's 50 other players, 8 of them.
Only 7 of your starters.
Wow. Well, only 8 out of the whole 50, so I'm probably good that 7 of them are starters. And I guess the rest
well, I mean, I think isn't it like let me ask you this: should Noah Gray be on a $6 million per year contract right now?
No.
I mean, I think the Noah Gray signing was insurance against Travis Kelce retiring, which means it's the player's decision on whether to retire, but it's your decision as to whether or not you're going to keep holding. Because, like, the domino effect of the Travis Kelce retirement is, one, Well, we kind of think he's coming back so we don't go draft a tight end high. Like, they don't ever think in terms of tight end because we have Travis Kelce, and we're trying to win right now, so we're drafting for need. And then, but then he might go, so we have to re-sign Noah Gray to $6 million a year, and he averages 200 or 300 yards receiving a year, but we're going to give him $6 million. You're getting replacement-level tight end play from Noah Gray, but you're paying $6 million for it.
Yes.
Because we don't know on a year-to-year basis whether or not Travis Kelce is going to play. You know what would have been wise? Move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
And
because then when he does decide to play, he's a $14 million cap hit.
Yeah. So when fans, that thing kind of comes up and they say, well, he can play as long as he wants to. Let him they're on his side of him dragging it out. But then when the payoff of that thing or the pay up for that thing, it hurts the Chiefs. They thought, well, how come we don't have a better situation there? What's the deal there? Well, that's the price you pay when you put yourself in that position.
I want to look at the tight end spending. I want the position ranks. Hang on a second. I'll figure it out.
15th on cap.
15th at tight end?
Yeah. Combined AAV, they are.
Yeah. So they're kind of. I'm surprised that they're not higher.
They're 8th on combined average.
So that the averages, but the actual cap is not as bad. And part of that's because I think Kelsey's on a disc. He's got that deal where it's incentive, right? Yeah, because Kelsey is only counting because they're putting void years on Kelsey, so he's only counting 4.9 this year. And the rest is being pushed off. So in years to come, Travis Kelce will be hitting you. They started doing the void years with Mahomes and with Kelce. They're on the smaller end, and it does feel like it's like, okay, these are exceptional players.
Yeah.
But
because the 4.9 is the cap, but the average, the combined, when you look at the AAV, it's 12. That's why they go up to 8th. When you factor that in.
So, I just, you're going to have to start moving on from guys that can still play, that are on the downslope. And ideally, you're doing it via trade while they have value and you're getting extra draft picks. And then at some point, you've got to start trading back.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
The always trading up thing.
Yeah. And each year, it's, well, we didn't want to, but we had to because of this. And then the next year, it's, well, we had to, that you can reason away what they did this year to get the best corner in the country. But next year, what will it be? Will it be we had to get the best wide receiver? So they, it's at some point, there's always going to be a reason each year to trade up, but that doesn't mean you have to do it every year.
By the way,
you can't do the opposite.
Just sidebar. Did you think the highest cap hit at tight end should be the Vikings at $29.5 million? I mean, T.J. Hawkinson can play, but $10 million for Josh Oliver?
It's a bit much.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. Do enjoy hearing Dallas talk about the Cowboys, and I do want to underscore that. If you missed the 2-minute drill, it'll be on the podcast at 810whb.com and on the 810 app. It's a little slower today. Don't text me, those of you who do, because Kyle is out. So hold your horses. But Dallas confirming, Alec Bedford confirming that he thought and there's audio that's out there, actual audio, factual audio of the Cowboys talking to the Browns about trading up to 6. And if they got to 6, they were going to go for Mansour Delane. That's the thought in Dallas. Mm-hmm. I don't bring it up to be like, see, the Chiefs got it right. I bring it up to say that because they may have gotten it wrong. They moved up he needs to be exceptional, right? But it does add to we thought we needed to go up and get him. Well, they have software that says it was 90% likely to still be there. So why did they trade up? Well, because the software does not factor in Dallas picking at 6.
Yes. And neither do the mock drafts.
Right? So it's a little bit different there. All right, 913-810-810. We'll take a break coming up later. Next hour, we'll talk to Paul Gibson. We'll get a positive spin because the Royals minor league pitching has been doing very well. We'll talk to their senior director of pitching performance, Paul Gibson, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. 913-810-810. You're on the program. Welcome back here on the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Petro, Seaboldt, the Drake, in for the vacationing Kyle Collier. Welcome, Drake. We appreciate it. Drake always does a good job.
Yes.
Although, did you hear the premature firing of the 2-minute drill ending?
When I haven't been in here for like a month, I'm going to make a mistake every time.
You know, we choose to find it charming.
I do too.
Yeah, you know. We know your passion for running the 2-minute drill.
I enjoy it.
No, you don't.
People always talk about how hard it is. I have no problems with it whatsoever. Now, the feud, I can't handle.
Oh, that's what it is. That's right. I got that backwards. That's right. You don't like the feud.
No, people always tell me that the drill is difficult. It's not.
It's just whether or not people answer. That's the only
Which
part.
like New Orleans didn't.
Yeah,
you know.
That's always my biggest deal with the feud is that, or with the drill is that it's the only part of my week that I really can't control.
Yes.
And it's 4 guys. They've all said, "Yep, I'm good," but things happen.
Yeah, sometimes we just go with 3 if we get a lot of topics in one place. We like that 4 because a lot of times somebody no-shows. We get that question all the time, like, so those are all live? You know, almost always, yes.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. You know, I don't know where it adds. I heard someone try to claim that, like, oh, if you don't do it live, you're just being lazy. Like, okay, so like sometimes I'm recording at 8 a.m. for a show that starts at 2 and ends at 6, and I'm not lazy? Someone want to fill me in on how that one works? Because, you know, it ain't a big hit at my house, I can tell you that.
I'm sure.
So I wouldn't mind if you'd appreciate it when I do it, because I'm not getting joy at home. But anyway, like Mo Egger in Cincinnati usually needs to tape.
Yeah.
So if we go to Cincy, usually Mo was early.
Because they're on the radio also.
Well, I also, Gus Kattengill in New Orleans was the one who no-showed us this time. He's dead to us now.
Yeah.
You'll never hear him again. That's not true. We first and foremost, the first thing we always think is we hope everyone's okay.
Yeah.
Because you never know. There might be a medical emergency going on or whatever. The Kyle Busch situation should be a reminder to all of us. I mean, you can think you're just fine and being, you know, fight through it. You know, don't be, you know, letting down. Just got to keep pushing through. It should be a great reminder to all of us to take your health seriously. I mean, it's the thing we always talk about here. Behind the scenes, we don't do it on the air all the time. But health and family's first. You know, you got that. That's what you got to take care of your health. You got to take care of your family. And the whole station, the whole company's great about that and always putting health and family first. So, like, you know, seriously, probably Gus Kattengill just forgot.
Yeah.
But Gus has been a tape guy of late as well. But his schedule kind of changes. So I was like, oh, okay, great. We're going to have Gus live. And no, we're not.
I know.
We're not getting New Orleans. There'll be no
Nolans.
We do not
gumbo.
We do not get to find out about go Tigers.
Go Tigers, yo.
Ed Orgeron being back on the staff at LSU. That's the part I really wanted to talk to him about.
I just love how everyone is back at LSU. Ed Orgeron and Will Wade are both back at LSU.
We'll get rid of you for a few minutes. We'll let things cool down. It basically is Michael going back to Italy for a year or two after killing the detective in Godfather 2.
Yes.
Just let it cool down.
Killing McCluskey.
And then you come back and nobody seems to remember that this guy got killed and you're fine.
Now I'm forced to deal with these charges and bringing my coach back.
But they bring back Will Wade and now Ed Orgeron's out recruiting for LSU.
My other coach, Coach Orgeron, is forced to leave this game because of this recruiting business.
Well, he was actually forced to leave because he was losing.
This losing business.
And now he wants to.
Will Wade would be that way.
Now he's willing to come back. And by the way, somebody, was it Tom Izzo? Apparently in an offhanded comment that he didn't know people were around, it's like, Will Wade is the worst basketball mind in the game or something. Was it?
Wow.
Let me see who that was.
That sounds interesting.
I want to. Where did I read that? You just read, and then you don't forget where it is.
Yeah, there's
no,
so many.
It's a fake report.
Ah, okay. So there's so many different places where you can get stuff that it's hard to remember.
Yeah, so that was fake. fake report about Izzo.
And that doesn't sound like him.
All right. So I read it, and thankfully I Googled it here. But, you're like, really? So I'm like, I can't believe Tom Izzo would be that, swing and miss on something.
They can
report.
get dudes, but
so I'm glad I looked that up.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here.
We're now in an era where
Go away, disperse, please. Nothing to see here.
If you see something that someone has said and you go, "Wow, really?" You need to really check it out.
Well, it was picked up by real. I don't just troll the Twitter or the.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to come across on a legit source.
But that guy might have. That
But
person
that guy
might not
did
have.
not fact check it, obviously. So
always find the.
Still on me.
I almost go the old-fashioned. I need two sources.
We always. Oh, it's not old-fashioned. It's today.
It's today.
Journalism
It's
is what it is.
but for a different reason. But it's just as accurate as it's always been.
Yeah, I mean, always two. That's the. You have to have that.
Minimum.
But yeah. So anyway, all right, let's take a break. Come back. We're going to talk some NBA. Going to get you the things you need to know. A lot of NBA in there as well. And Paul Gibson, Royals pitching performance coach.
All right, Nolan Ryan threw the first no-hitter ever at Royal Stadium. Who threw the second? Brought to you by La Feta Delicatessen.
Fourth quarter of the program begins right now as we finish strong here on a Friday. Hour number 20 of the program. That's right, 20 jam-packed hours of programming for you. If you miss any, 810WHB.com. Get that app. Download the app. Do you have the app, Curtis?
I do.
I have the app. Listen to it when I walk. And I listen to it when I drive long distances.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the app, Drake?
I've got several apps.
No, the app. The 810 app. As a kid, what about the kid? You got the 8? Slap him.
He says he listens through Apple Podcast.
Oh. Well, get the app right now or you're fired. You don't want to lose this kind of lucrative gig.
Yes.
Should have the app. The app's great.
It is.
I take the app everywhere. The app's always with me.
Don't fire him. I need him to run minor league baseball games in Wichita.
Free apps.
Which, listen, you heard that right. You're like, what? Are they driving him down to Wichita? The answer to that question is no, they are not. And then you're like, so wait a minute, how does this work? Don't concern yourself.
Yeah, don't ask.
Don't try to figure it out. Just however much you're going, huh? Trust me, here we're doing a little bit louder.
Hmm?
So, you know.
I wake up going, huh? Every morning at 4.
Hello, Wichita. We bid you hello.
Wichita.
We are on in Wichita right now, 4 to 6. You want to know how we always know we're on in Wichita? And you can value this, folks, there in Wichita. Because if we are a second late, Drake comes running down the hall, yelling at us, you got to be on time for Wichita! And what's really frustrating is when, like, he trips because he was running out of the bathroom and the pants fall down. And that's a whole another deal. But has that been cleared through HR?
Well, now that we have cameras, I'll need to.
Yeah.
That's true.
One hand on his pants. Get that out on time!
4:02:30.
2:30.
Are we...
I knew that.
Are we the best at being out on time?
Pretty darn good.
Okay, thank you.
We're the best at being out on time at 4:02:30.
We try to be the best. We try to make every department in this building happy. That's what we do. That's been our goal, and we're sticking to it.
We're the heroes.
There's a couple individuals now who can, give you a hand gesture that doesn't need all these. That's for the camera, those of you watching on the YouTube. You figure out which one of these fingers I don't need.
It's pinky.
To make the gesture. And that's one. Let's start with some Royals news, Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
We have good news for your
Yes.
Kansas City Royals. By the way, we'll talk some good news in a minute because in our next segment, we're going to be joined by Paul Gibson. He is the Royals Senior Director of Pitching Performance. We're going to talk about some minor league pitching that's going really, really well for the Royals. But Royals and Mariners back at it tonight. 6:40, catch it on the Royals TV. The Mariners, -120 favorites. Royals, you get them at +102. Logan Gilbert for the M's. Noah Cameron for the Royals. So they are back in action after having yesterday off. But the good news is Cole Reagan's scheduled for a rehab start tomorrow with Omaha, set for 4 to 5 innings or 60 to 65 pitches. So
I like that.
I love that.
If things go well, that sounds like might be back in the rotation quicker than some people thought, quicker than I thought.
The Royals also made a move today. They designate catcher Elias Diaz. He hit a home run. They said, that's not what you're here for, son.
Yeah. You're here to strike out with runners at second and third and 1 out.
Well, you're here to catch.
All
right, so stop. You're making other people look bad by applying yourself. No, Elias Diaz, depth in the organization at the catching spot, which should mean that Salvador Perez is 100%.
Yep.
Now,
I guess.
he gets sent out. They recall Tyler Tolbert from Omaha.
To get thrown out on the bases.
Well, he'd fit right in.
Yeah.
He'd fit right in. NHL action tonight. The Golden Knights of Las Vegas are at Colorado for Game 2. The Knights stole Game 1. No truth to the reports that Shane has threatened to quit if the Avalanche don't bounce back on this.
Well, he wore an Av shirt the other day, and they lost, and I gave him a hard time about it. And today, was wearing an Av shirt again. He said it's a different Av shirt he feels good about it.
Okay.
By the way, once we get to the
Colorado minus 164, by the way.
Yeah, once we get to the Stanley Cup Finals, we'll have the games here on Sports Radio 810 the BHB.
Okay. The finals. But we have tonight's I'm glad you mentioned that because tonight is interesting. KU baseball was at a phenomenal season.
Yep.
We'll be on right here on your home of the Jayhawks. Pregame starts at 6:15. Best of 8:10 from 6 to 6:15.
Mm-hmm.
Lebo put together the best of 8:10.
Not even 15 minutes. 11 minutes.
It's 11 minutes with the commercials. You don't want to miss this very special episode.
Today, on a very special Best of 810.
You know what I appreciate most? That nobody said, hey, why don't you guys do 15 more minutes? So, listen, when you're listening to the Best of 810, know that our asses are gone.
Yes.
Okay?
Like a greatest hits album with 2 songs on it.
Yep. I dig it.
But I was like, what could we have done different there? And I was like, ask the dumbasses that are on to go 15 more minutes. It's Friday. That's not happening.
Yeah.
Holiday weekend.
That's right.
It's expressly written in Curtis Seaboldt's contract that he does not work before 2 and he does not work after 6.
I don't have a contract.
Me neither.
Hourly wage.
So you'd love the extra 15 minutes.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Who's got beer money?
All right. So anyway, but we're going to have KU and Oklahoma State in the Big 12 tournament. Do you know where it's played?
Surprise Stadium.
Surprise Stadium. That's right. Well. That's where they're playing. KU squandered a 7-0 lead.
7-1 was when I looked. It might have been 7-0 at one point, but when I tuned in, it was 7-1, and then
against Baylor,
extra
and then
innings.
Got a home run from a sophomore in extra innings to propel them. So now they take on Oklahoma State in that Big 12 tournament. You'll hear that here on 810 over on ESPN Kansas City 94.5, NBA pregame, and 7:30 Thunder and Spurs. Yep. So that is your NBA action tonight.
Just so we don't get 15 calls from hockey fans, and I don't have Paul McGannon blowing me up on Twitter.
Uh-oh.
I like Paul.
Paul likes the hockey.
He loves the hockey. He's a great hockey guy. Stanley Cup final. Hockey people are very particular about that. It's not the finals. It's the Stanley Cup final.
I'm sorry,
Why?
I misspoke.
That's what it's called.
Why?
I have no idea.
Well, maybe a little. What do they get? What do they say? It's only the final. Why?
It's because it's all one thing. I guess they call the series the final. It's the Stanley Cup final.
But it's the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Yes. But the final series isn't the finals. It's the Stanley Cup final.
I know, but I know that that's what they want, but I'm not sure, like, if somebody told you something that was just factually wrong, are you going to quote it because that's what they wanted?
If the league wants to do that. I mean, I think it's just kind of like that's what they do. So I call it the final.
It's kind of like a match instead of a game, a pitch, a boot, a kit, that kind of thing in soccer.
That type of deal.
All right. I guess the Stanley Cup final.
But how about we got the
well, we're not
unexpected.
at the Stanley Cup final right now. We're in the Stanley Cup playoff.
Yeah, playoff. The Western
Just
Conference,
one of them.
The Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals, I guess. How about Montreal getting one and putting it on?
Nobody is rooting
Carolina.
more for the cold cities.
Yes, than me.
Than Curtis.
Yeah,
he knows that we're probably going to get Carolina and Vegas,
and not just a cold city. I want a Canadian team. I want
the
Canadians to lift the trophy for the first time in 30.
Where are the Canadians and Yankees? They were like back and forth.
Yeah, I think they're somewhere.
They're a few back now.
17 or 18.
I wouldn't mind the Canadians wrapping off. No, they're in the 20s.
Are they in the 20s?
Look that up. I think the Yankees went ahead at like 23-22 or 22-21. What are the Yanks at now? 24-5?
Are
they still at
26? I thought it was 20. It's 27.
I thought it was 27.
What?
Or maybe 26.
They're not that high.
Pretty high.
We'll find that out. Figure that out for me. Let's get to the bottom of that.
Montreal 24.
Okay, and how many for the Yanks?
Yankees.
Then I would buy 25 or 6 now because I thought they were just a little bit past the Canadians.
27.
Oh, that sucks. Well, the Canadians are our only hope to take the Yankees out of that top spot. So root for Montreal, people.
And they threw it on Carolina in a big way last night.
Yes,
so
they did.
I dug it.
It was nice. Thunder and Spurs tonight. The Spurs are just a 1.5-point favorite in San Antonio. This snaps a 33-game streak in which the Thunder were favored in the playoffs. Only 2 teams have had a longer streak. The Warriors in 2015 and 16, that was the KD and Steph Curry Warriors. And then the Jordan Bulls from 95 to 97. The Warriors were favored 36 straight. The Bulls were favored 35 straight.
Actually, the Warriors would not have been. That's 15 and 16. That's pre-KD.
That is pre-KD?
Yeah, he came in 17.
Okay.
They had the longest, that big jump where they won 15 straight was with KD. But
let's talk about the injuries piling up on both sides for the Western Conference Finals. Spurs head coach Mitch Johnson was asked about how banged up both teams are.
Hang on, I think I've got my bite one here says Quattro. Did I pull up the wrong thing?
Yeah, probably.
522.
Yeah, let me grab that. Hang on one second.
Oh my God, Drake being the classic old school FM radio guy is going to fill the dead air with the commentary of how he screwed it up.
Well, I want to take responsibility for it.
I wasn't going to.
All right. Hey, throw again.
You know what? I've been wondering all day, Curtis. I wonder what Mitch Johnson, the head coach of the Spurs, thinks about both teams in this series being so banged up.
Yeah, it feels like that's always at this time of the season in every sport, right? You have to get to the end to give yourself a chance. And I think, again, that's why we have to continue to trust our depth, and guys have to step up and when their name's called, answer the bell and be able to give us some quality minutes. And then as you do get tired and the physicality heightens and the intensity is ever so present, you got to execute. And so there's something there where there's a mental, a physical, and an emotional challenge, I guess you could say. And you have to be able to do that in the micro every possession and then in the macro in terms of the totality of how you have a disposition and work a game for 48 minutes.
All right, settle down.
I don't know what that was at the end.
Settle
but if you're
down.
driving around or sitting in your office or whatever listening to that and you really had the urge to tell Mitch Johnson to clear his throat, or if that was making you feel a little bit like, I don't know.
I get his
anxious.
voice is hoarse because he's coaching but where was he going? What was the
It was
incoherent rambling there at the end.
Like it started to make sense. Yeah, yep, I see that. Wait,
yeah.
Where are you still answering the same question?
All right, let's hear Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault. He was asked why he chose to throw Isaiah Hartenstein at Victor Wembanyama. You remember first time around it was Jalen Williams, which I think there's kind of an obvious answer like, oh, the guy I used last time is hurt.
Yeah.
But here he is talking about Hartenstein getting the call.
I thought the other night and in the regular season, having wings on him was effective in the macro. You know, the other night he just had way too much of the restricted. But if you zoom out, they turned the ball over a ton. That we gave up 101 points in regulation. You know, they actually shot pretty well for the quality. The quality of shots were what we would want, other than his stuff at the rim. But two things that just didn't feel good were his stuff at the rim. You know, just felt too sustainable. And so we have to make some corrections there. It won't be the last time we have a wing on him. We had wings on him a couple possessions tonight. And then the other thing that doesn't feel good is playing Hart 12 minutes. You know, it just didn't feel good to me. But in order to get him extended past that, that's the matchup. And so we decided to start with it. It's never going to be like predetermined that we would do that the whole game. Obviously, Dub going out impacted that too because he's a matchup. So that option was off the table to a degree. We could do Kenrich, but I just didn't feel good about doing that one cold tonight. And Hart was doing great. So that was the thinking in that decision.
And Jalen Williams went out.
Yeah, he said Dub. I think that's what he meant by Dub.
Yeah, I know it was, but I mean,
well, he goes. That was kind of part of it. No, it was a lot of it.
It was a lot of it, but I do like that he's still talking about the wings being effective. All right, we want you to hear this. This is Daigneault, same guy, head coach of the Thunder. I want you to hear his answer and see if you can figure out the question.
No, we're at Game 2, and Game 3 is coming up next, and Game 5 will be after Game 4. And because the team's split, there will be a Game 5.
So what do you think the question was that they got that smart-ass answer? Well, let's hear.
Excuse me. You obviously had Dub leave early. They had Harper leave early. You had guys limping off when it was over. They had guys limping off, it felt like, when it was over. Are we already at that Game 5 sort of level of attrition in this series? And is that what we all kind of probably should have expected?
No, we're at game 2, and game 3 is coming up next, and game 5 will be after game 4. And because the team's split, there will be a game 5.
You can hear someone laughing in the background. I think a female reporting here.
I mean,
okay.
The question, actually, you're like, okay, what kind of dumbass question got asked? But the question's not bad.
Not at all, and it was absolutely not answered.
Which I don't understand why he got.
It was the same guy that asked that question. He asked the question of Mitch Johnson. That was what Mitch Johnson.
But did you see the video of it?
Yeah, he was kind of.
Did he have a smile?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Okay,
It's just
all
kind
right.
of. It was kind of a.
It was playful.
It seemed that way. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because
when he goes, that's
because
after
if it's
game
like
4.
he's offended by the question or annoyed
No.
by the question, I'm like,
No,
I think
he
it's a pretty good question.
Yeah, it was a pretty good question.
You know,
Mitch Johnson answered it answered it so fully he got off into some other tangent.
Yeah.
Well, they both used the term macro in the last 2 nights ago.
Spurs guard Dylan Harper will be a game-time decision here for game number 3. Underwent an MRI Thursday afternoon. The results revealed a right abductor injury, so something to factor in. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some Royals baseball. Down in the Miners, got some really good young pitchers. The guy in charge of it is Paul Gibson. We'll talk to him next. Except for we have programming.
From what? I was wanting to see what they were away from.
Okay.
Coming down in 3, 2, 1. But first, the La Feta Delicatessen end of the hour answer. Nolan Ryan threw the first no-hitter ever at then Royals Stadium. Who threw the second?
Steve Busby?
Nope, both his were on the road. Detroit and 73.
Brett Saberhagen?
Milwaukee. One in between.
Before Saberhagen.
May 14th, 1977.
Hang on. Go ahead. It's going to take me.
Jim Colburn.
Jim Colburn. Jim Colburn.
Jim Colburn.
Yes.
Former Brewer. His first year with the Royals in '77. He's 80 today.
Yeah, I forgot that. Because it's only 3 guys that have thrown it for the Royals. So Jim Colburn's the one everyone always forgets about. Because Busby had 2. Saberhagen more recent.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Colburn did it as well. Happy birthday, Jim Colburn. I'll leave you with this. The NCAA enforcement staff opened an investigation of the Ole Miss football program the same day that Clemson coach Dabo Swinney accused Rebels coach Pete Golding of tampering with linebacker Luke Farrelly. According to documents obtained by ESPN through an Open Records Act, and NCAA Associate Director of Enforcement emailed Ole Miss Senior Associate Athletic Director for Compliance Taylor Hall on January 23rd, a couple hours before a news conference in which Swinney blasted Golding for allegedly tampering with Farrelly, who, after transferring from Cal to Clemson, had enrolled at Clemson, then left for Ole Miss. You remember this? They're actually, so he let fly once he knew there was an investigation. The question is, are we going to get anything from it? A lot of the conversation is that, like, there is no enforcement of any kind about anything anymore. Well, maybe as a group, all you presidents and athletic directors and chancellors and everything shouldn't do everything you can to absolutely strip your governing body that just represents you of any and all power that they had. Maybe you shouldn't have crapped on them all the time. Maybe you shouldn't try to do everything you can to bring down the NCAA. Now you turn to Congress. What could go wrong there? Welcome back here in the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Let's talk some pitching. We're going to talk about the Royals minor league pitching. A lot of good things happening down there. Paul Gibson, Senior Director of Pitching Performance, joins us here in the program. Talking some Royals baseball. It's brought to you by our friends at Family Leisure. Do you have the ultimate theater seating? How about a massage chair to sit back and watch your Royals baseball or any sports? Family Leisure's got you covered. They've got their big Memorial Day sale going on right now. Don't miss it. Get to Family Leisure today. Get to Family Leisure this week. They got the Sundance spas, hot tubs, pools, everything you need to make summer great. Everything that goes in the pool with you or out on the lake. You need some inner tubes. You need some floaties. They've got all of that, and of course the best selection of patio furniture you're going to find anywhere. I bought some of my patio furniture back in 2004. We still use it all the time. Adirondack chairs, we love them. They're so comfortable. They're absolutely fantastic. They even got them where they rock now. That's where I'm going next. Family Leisure. They're at K10 and Ridgeview. You can find them online at familyleisure.com. You can upgrade your backyard today. Upgrade and have everybody loving your outdoor space with Family Leisure. That Memorial Day sale going on right now, so get out to K10 and Ridgeview. Let's welcome Paul Gibson to the program. Paul, thanks for joining us. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Listen, a lot of conversation, a lot of people getting pretty excited about some of the guys that you're looking at right now. First of all, how giddy are you about the pitching prospects that's starting to come along here in the organization?
Well, it's been pretty exciting on particularly the lower end of the system with some of the really young pitchers and all the way up through Double-A. Some of the things that have gone on, quite honestly, it was a different kind of spring for all of us with the WBC and the slow build-up. So a couple guys got out of the blocks a little bit slower than we hoped, especially in terms of volume of innings. But we're starting to get our feet under us, and we're getting our pitchers up to 90 to 100 pitches here shortly. And so that makes for some exciting times.
How did the WBC affect the minors?
So it trickles down all the way from the major leagues down. So on the major league side, we obviously had several pitchers that were participating in WBC in one fashion or another. And then because of the WBC, there was one less minor league game all spring. So when you have 80 pitchers in camp on the minor league side and you have one less game to play, and then tie that in with the major league team needing some backups on occasion to go over and be prepared to help the major league team get through their 9-inning game, it makes for a little bit of an uneven build-up. So we made an advanced decision to be on the conservative side, and in most cases our pitchers would leave camp 75, 80 pitches, and in some cases this year it was 60 to 75. So a little bit of a trickle down, but again, having an opportunity to have more games definitely makes for a more productive spring.
Let's talk about some of the guys individually. Kendry Churio is a name that I think all Royals fans are getting to know really quickly. He's still so young. The results have been so good. First of all, do you like when people are this excited about a young man? And what do you think his potential is?
Well, with Churio, there's two things that really stand out. Number one, the ability is ceiling is incredibly high. But the most impressive thing is the maturity in his daily routine. And I'm not comparing him to this pitcher, but a lot of the guys that have been around here a long time compare him in terms of his work ethic and his routine to a young Zach Greinke. As we know, Zach was a very dedicated person in terms of what he wanted to do to prepare to pitch. And Kendry Churio has very similar type daily activities with his throwing program, his sides, his conditioning, his weight room work. All of that is beyond his 18 years of age. And when you give him something to strive for, he puts it into play rather quickly. His IQ on the mound is extremely high.
The number I saw on his signing was not one that would make him, considered to be, like, oh, this can't miss prospect. So credit to the scouting department, everybody in the organization for finding him. It wasn't $500 either, right? Like it was a real investment. But what was maybe lacking when it was time to sign him? What were people looking at that they didn't say, okay, we're going to – because if he were available now, like if people could go back and redo it, they'd offered him a lot more money to try to get him. What was maybe what has maybe evolved since that time that's made him such a prospect?
Well, I think, first of all, the international market and free agent market is very different than the States. If Churio was a high school senior right now, we'd be talking about a top 10 pick in the draft. In the international market, and credit to the entire international crew on this one, sometimes still, despite all of the processes that are now in the game, guys like this slip through. And he wasn't a 96, 98 mile an hour guy when they signed him. But once we get guys like this in the academy and they get proper training, proper eating habits, routines, and whatnot, we have seen and will continue to see guys make big jumps. So, no, he wasn't an international phenom at any stretch. But again, you will find guys like this that will come into the academy in the Dominican, and once under the guiding eyes of Victor Baez and his group, we will see things like this. What you don't necessarily see is the makeup end of it. That this kid, and he was raised right in Venezuela, and he was under the tutelage of a really good pitching group down there. And so, when you add all these things up, it makes a lot of sense.
David Shields is kind of the opposite as far as being an American, and everybody, said that you could see the pitch ability, right? His ability to do things. The question was he going to, have the velocity? And I know that's the question that people still have. He's very highly thought of, but the question is, does he have enough velocity to go with all the other things? He seems to do all the intangibles great. The question is he going to have the velo? Where do you think he sits right now on that? And do you think that's an accurate description of where he's at?
Absolutely. The common denominator with both of these young guys is their baseball IQ, their work ethic, and their desires. Where they're different, obviously one's right-handed, one's left-handed. David was a multi-sport guy in high school, and a really good football player. And so the processes with him were a little bit different in terms of baseball training versus football training. This year has been 90, 93. We don't expect him to be a high velocity guy, but we do believe there's a tick more in there coming from the Northeast and not having a whole lot of workload innings-wise. We expect that jump, whatever it may be, to be a little bit slower in terms of years. But I would rather have a guy that has the ability to pound the strike zone the way he does with 4 pitches, and let's just take the velocity as it comes, because he's thrown the ball very well. His locations have been really good, and his advancement in his attack plan has been very good as well. So they're different in a lot of ways, but the common thing between these two guys is that their baseball IQs and their work ethic are really good.
Let's talk about a couple other guys, Michael Lombardi and Justin Lampkin. Those are guys that are recent draft picks and are starting to really turn some heads and get a lot of notice and are starting to move up. I mean, what are your expectations for what they can be?
Yeah, I'll start with Lampkin. This has been a very pleasant surprise. We knew what we were getting when the draft came last year, and he was described to us by the scouts and the people who had seen him. The pitchability is off the chart. What we didn't know was the velocity was going to be so good. He's been in the mid-90s, and we just recently moved him to Double-A. And his start 2 nights ago very indicative of what we've been seeing. A guy that has an attack plan with 4 pitches. He's got a little bit of funk in his delivery, hides the ball really well, and he knows exactly what he wants to do. He uses both sides of the plate extremely well. We are working on his changeup a little bit more, but I would expect health being good, and as things move forward, we have a chance of seeing this guy next year help us at the major league level as a starter.
You mentioned, like having some funk in his delivery. Is that good? Like, 'cause sometimes people will be like, well, they got to clean it up. Well, that could lead to injury. How do you walk the tightrope of being a little bit different, giving a different look, maybe, confusing the hitters, but also making sure that the delivery's clean and not one that's going to make him more susceptible to injury?
Yeah, so, we have a lot of people in the process, and a lot of the timing in his delivery based on the biomechanical reports don't lead us to think that there's anything going on that would suggest that we need to make changes due to the injury risk. So he's on time with his arm. What I mean by funk is he hides the ball in the back really well and has an unusual type stride to the plate. So the hitters have a hard time staying on time with him. So no, there's no immediate concerns about injury risk. If I had to make a comparison, there's a little bit of Chris Bubich in his delivery, kind of the way he hides the ball.
Yeah. How much can you teach that?
Not very.